they have more in some spots than the Titans have had. And I think this year for sure, right? You see that. I mean, Brock Purdy might take him to the freaking Super Bowl, man. So I agree. It's either like Malik Willis gets a real chance, or you're actually going forward one more year with Tannehill, or I guess, or you try to shoot higher. I mean, the Tom Brady stuff. Could you finally? I don't know that really is shooting higher now. I watched that game the other night. I know they won, and he made some plays late, but oh man, and he's starting to look his age. But I mean, something like that, right? Like shoot for. I mean, what else would it be other than Brady? Where you're like, maybe this is. I mean, there's not. I mean, I think you're right. It's like it's 90-some% is one or the other of Willis or Tannehill as your quarterback next year. So, and other than that, like, I don't think that there's a realistic other option. Teams have surprised us, of course, and obviously could the Titans fall in love with Hendon Hooker and feel like they can get him, a little bit later in the draft or something like that. There's also that possibility. There is possibility that a different quarterback in this draft could be of interest, but you're not going to get, unless you figure out a whole bunch of stuff to send to somebody, you're not going to get one of the top guys in this draft. You're not going to touch Will Levis. So no. I'm sorry. I apologize, Titans fans. You're not getting Will Levis.
Yeah, so where Kuiper's got him as the number 1 rated quarterback again in the draft. We'll see how that goes. Chuck on the text line says, a few weeks ago when the fans were saying blow it up, we were basically told how foolish we were and we don't understand this team. Sure sounds like you all are gradually getting to blow it up yourselves. Welcome to the dark side. This from Chuck on the text line.
Were we shaming people and now we're flip-flopping? Is that what is being charged of us?
I don't know. Sounds like it.
There's a lot of stuff that at the beginning of the year, I mean, again, a few weeks ago, if I could go back in time, I'd still shame people for saying that they're about to fire John Robinson, but they did,
They sure did.
I mean, again, and when you talk about blow it up, I remember a few weeks ago, it also was an absolute lock that they're winning this division, and now they're probably not.
Probably not.
So there's quite a few things that can change in a few weeks of an NFL season. This is another great example of like how things that you think in September and October can be completely and look so ridiculous in December.
We'll have more of your thoughts to get to on the Titans coming up next. 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. This is Robby and Rexrode, 1025-1063, The Game.
Bowl season is here.
Keeps his feet out of a tackle, and it's a race now.
Catch all the action right here at 1025, 1063 The Game, and 94.9 The Fan.
Down the middle, right on the money, touchdown.
All the big moments of bowl season are presented by Boomba's Craft Pizza and Tap House, Pizza, Beer, Sports, headquartered in East Nashville, and by Superbook Sports.
My goodness, look out.
Bowl season is on 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
If you own a house, you've got a huge asset, and everyone's looking at it. With Wall Street investors buying up homes in Nashville and renting them out like never before, you have to wonder, what do they see in your big asset that you don't? If you sell your home instead of renting it, you can kiss your asset goodbye. The best way to save your asset is to rent it out. Go to renterswarehouse.com to book your free home rental price analysis or call 615-398-9550. Renters Warehouse. You can't buy happiness, but you can rent it.
The Parker Store at 1909 Nolensville Road in Nashville is the Parker Factory Authorized Store for your Parker hydraulic, pneumatic, water, and chemical hose needs. They stock metric tubing and hose connections to 42 millimeters in size, and they'll fabricate while you wait up to 6,000 PSI hydraulic hoses in a 2-inch size. Call the Parker Store at 615-248-8245 for all the Parker requirements you have. The Parker Store, 1909 Nolensville Road.
Hey, let's get brunch. How long is the wait?
Tired of the same old brunch spots? 2 words. Bottomless Brunch. That's right, Almost Friday is the newest sporting club in downtown Nashville, and they're ready to help you elevate your weekend. All you can eat and drink while you watch the game, play flip cup, pong, or other games, and turn it up with their DJs. There's no other place in Nashville like it. If it's not Friday, it's Almost Friday. Reserve your table now at almostfridaynash.com. It's always Almost Friday at Almost Friday Sporting Club.
It's electric in Smashville. The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Local 429 has a new path to a dignified career. Local 429 is accepting applications for the highest skilled electricians and linemen and is providing the best training in Middle Tennessee. They are the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Local 429. Call them at 615-889-4429 or go online to ibew429.org. IBEW Local 429, your proud seventh man since the beginning. Go Preds.
The Nashville Sheriff is hiring correctional officers. Earn $52,500 after paid training and probation. Positions are available immediately. You must be 21 and over with a high school diploma or GED. Come join our family. That's $52,500 with great benefits. Apply now at sheriff.nashville.gov/apply or call 615-862-8170. Earn $52,500. Stop searching. Apply now. The Nashville Sheriff.
Chase McCabe.
You get a little fired up for that. Pads start popping.
Willie Donick.
And you're just thinking, this guy's unbelievable.
And Derek Mason.
Now I got to run a little bit faster so I don't get hit.
Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. Weekdays from 10 to 2 on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Kenny Adams here with you on this Tuesday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. We'll have Caroline Fenton coming up at 7 o'clock. David Beauclair from SI.com joining the show at 7:30. Looking forward to all that. Right now, taking your thoughts on the Titans, 615-737-1025. Gunner on the text line, driven by WilsonCountyHunted.com, says, why doesn't Downing just put Malik Willis in the gun? It'll give more time, and he can see the field more, and he doesn't have to worry about the drop back. We can't let penalties on the offensive line slide either. That's coaching. This is from Gunner on the text line, driven by WilsonCountyHunted.com. I get the idea there, Joe. I would also say part of what makes the Titans passing game, and even though it's a very anemic passing game, part of the big plays they do generate is play action to Derrick Henry, and it's a little bit harder to do that in the shotgun.
Yeah, and they do some shotgun, and they do shotgun draw to Derrick Henry and things like that. But you the bread and butter running plays, typically they're under center, and I mean as far as the more time and everything, if you're not pass blocking, I don't care what you're in, and if you can't read it, I don't care what you're in. I just, I mean, in either way, like you have to execute the line and the quarterback. And by the way, the receivers also have to execute whatever it is. And you have plenty of time under center if you execute it. But my thing is more Willis as a runner, more of that threat to show a defense if he's going to be out there.
Let's go back to the text line. Got a text that says, I disagree with those who are saying we need some change. We need major change, beginning with the head coach and all coaches. We need to shake everything up, including the scouts. This is from a texter on the text line.
Fire everybody. Fire everybody.
We've seen a few more of those over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah. Amy Adams Strunk. Can't fire Amy Adams Strunk, but she can fire everybody.
That is true. Mark.
Yeah, I mean, in all seriousness, like let's say they lose out. Like people really think Vrabel is going to get fired. Hey, look, this owner has stunned me. So
I was about to say.
But I mean, I firmly believe that this move in part is also like Vrabel. Vrabel now is more in charge. I don't think Vrabel's in any sort of danger.
I don't think so either.
I'll shame you all who say you are, and then you come back at me and taunt me in January. Okay.
Yes. when Sean Payton is the head coach of the Titans next year. Mark on the text line says Tannehill's not the problem or the savior. Like 90% of starting quarterbacks in the NFL, he needs talent around him, aka Trent Dilfer. When he had that, he's more than serviceable. Just look at the drop off between him and Willis. If we can't shore up around him, the Titans need to move on and build for the future. And that's really what the next few months is going to be about. Like, if you're the Titans, how close do you think you are to being able to fix what we've seen out there? And if you don't feel like you're close, what does that mean for your quarterback room and for Ryan Tannehill? I mean, that's really the question here of what they're going to do. I mean, it's amazing to me that you take a look at this and that they've ended up in this situation. By the way, we got a texter that says, as I said before, Ryan would be benched and the Titans would go 6-11. I was off by 1. Titans go 7-10. Again, this is not a benching of Ryan Tannehill. He's hurt. I don't know why we can't get this. This is a constant theme throughout the year.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, okay. So I'm saying that was from Friday, too. Did you say, yeah. Yeah, no, the Ryan Tannehill hasn't been benched. Ryan Tannehill, yeah, okay. We're going back to September, though. You did say Ryan would get benched, and we didn't believe me and made fun of me. I'm going to make fun of you now again. He didn't get benched. He would never. You watch them play quarterback for this team, and you think Ryan Tannehill got benched? Ryan Tannehill almost is on the verge of getting like a lifetime appointment to quarterback compared to the other quarterback in his team has. And you're seriously trying to come at us with this? My God. Now look,
Benched.
I agree with. Yeah, totally got benched. I agree with the previous texture on the not savior, not the problem. Different great. Like quite a bit. I mean, Dilfer, it shows you like, and actually, I mean, kind of Flacco too with the Ravens. Like, if you can go pretty low on that scale and still win it, right? I mean, Tannehill's quite a bit above that, but to the point though. How close are the Titans to having that kind of team? I mean, this defense at times has looked like that. And they can't. I mean, now by the way, Autry has a biceps thing on the injury report. I mean, like it's just, and I don't know. He was down for a minute the other day and he came back, but it's just a shell of itself. But how close are you to that? It comes down to, do you think that you can put together a team in one off season and fix these things in one off season to the point where you could actually be a player in the AFC next year? And I'm not sure. I don't know. Like, I don't have a strong feeling yes or no on that.
Joe, my hot take for Thursday is, and I go back and forth on this, like personally, how I feel about it, because I still want him to end up with as many yards as he can end up with, just for his sake in the all-time discussion. But if I'm the Titans, Derrick Henry's not touching the field on Thursday. He's just not. I mean, I'm saving him for the last game against Jacksonville. I don't know what his status health-wise is going to be on Thursday, but to me, like, what's the benefit to putting Derrick Henry out there on Thursday in a game that doesn't really mean anything?
Yeah, no, I don't think it's a crazy thought at all. Obviously, excuse me, he's in the rushing race. He's like 100 yards back of Jacobs. So, like, from that perspective, but I mean, that you can't make decisions based on stuff like that. So if there's anything with him, I agree. I think that you are trying to gather everything you can, summon everything you can for that finale in Jacksonville to try to pull that off. Because I will say this, and I wrote this off the game, it's gotten so bad and things have gone so upside down on this team. Like, winning the AFC South now would actually be like a celebrated achievement. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Titans have managed.
They did it.
Yeah, right. I mean, the Titans have managed to blow it so much that it actually would be like, holy crap, they won the AFC South. They get a home playoff game. But look, I mean, like, to me, you have to, if there's anybody close. And I was actually a little surprised Vrabel acknowledged after the game, because I asked him about the lineup decision. I was a little surprised that he just came out and basically said, yeah, like, there's going to be some decisions made because we know, because that is kind of punting on this game to even say that out loud, right? But it's the right thing. Of course, it's the right thing. You play for the division and you get extra rest. And so you have to take advantage of that. And as bad as this team has been just riddled by injuries, then how do you not think of it that way? Matt from DC has been a big Malik Willis proponent. He said, I hope Malik goes out and proves all the haters wrong. So Jared Stinks has the worst takes in the history of Titans radio. How can we write Malik Willis off? I think he means after 3 games when we know he wasn't ready. we're not writing Malik Willis off, but let's also be realistic about what he is right now. He's not a good quarterback. He's bad. He's a bad quarterback right now.
Look, I'm not writing him off.
Incapable right now.
I would put the chances of him ever being a good starting quarterback in the NFL, the chances in my mind right now of that happening based on what I've seen are about at 7%. Like, it's not very high with Malik Willis.
See, I don't feel as strongly there yet. Like, there's just been so many quarterbacks who were so bad early, or they got
this
the
bad
red shirt here. Well, no, I mean, this is bad, but like but there's been enough. I've seen enough turnarounds that were dramatic, from year one, or having to be out there for a terrible team or whatever. And like, again, he does have a terrible team around him too. Let's remember that
he does
that. And then the turnaround, that I'm not at 7. I mean, I'm not as high as 50 either. Like, I'm probably more like 20 to 25. It's still low. There's a ton that has to change and improve. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
Chris on the text line says quarterbacks traditionally give their offensive line Christmas gifts. I think Tannehill gave his offensive line his medical bills with a card that says, "Thanks for getting me killed." This from Chris on the text line. Maybe so.
I don't know. He invited them over before the season. Maybe they didn't like the meal. I don't know, man. Maybe he beat them in cornhole. I mean, who knows? There's so many things we don't know.
It's a very the list of possibilities is large. Joe, you're going to be down at Tennessee and Clemson doing some media stuff for the next hour, so we appreciate your services. Look forward to your Vols report coming up at 8 o'clock.
Yes, I'll be back with some Vols quotes for you.
Coming up next, we'll have Caroline Fenton from Stillman & Company. We'll get her thoughts on the Titans. Continue to take yours as well. 615-737-1025. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Stuck at work without a radio?
Wait a minute. Disastrous.
I hate that.
It's got to be there.
That's okay. Download the Game Nashville app or go to thegamenashville.com and listen live. We are Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3, The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Your company's hiring. Who isn't? We would love to show you how to use 102.5 The Game to attract and retain employees. We can also help you find the exact person you're looking for with a targeted digital campaign. You can trust our team to help you build your team. Email us at together@cromwellmedia.com.
Hey, it's Jared. Are you looking to move? If so, do yourself a favor and reach out to my friends at TriStar Moving. You can be assured your move will be stress-free because they've got new utility vans to help with pack jobs to separate your high-value or fragile items from the bulk of your furniture, and their movers are carefully picked and highly trained. No one in the game is doing this. TriStar Moving is raising the standard in the moving industry. When you're ready to move, give them a call. TriStar Moving, 615-640-1219, or online at nationalmoving.org/radio, and tell them Jared Stillman referred you for 10% off. That's TriStar Moving.
Hey, it's Chase McCabe, and in the past, hair loss was inevitable. But now, you have a choice for thicker, fuller hair. Trust the experts with 45 years of experience at Hair Club. They've helped more than 500,000 clients love their hair again. No matter your age, stage of hair loss, or budget, Hair Club can customize a solution for you. And for a limited time, you can get 10% off when you book a free consultation today at hairclub.com/chase. That's hairclub.com/chase.
Harman Energy is now hiring drivers for their Nashville team. Harman Energy is Tennessee's petroleum solution for major industry. Right now, they're offering competitive compensation. Fuel tank wagon drivers start at $26 an hour. Fuel transport drivers, $29 an hour. Plus, there's a $4,000 sign-on bonus for CDL drivers. Top quality benefits and a great place to work, Harman Energy employees provide totally outrageous customer service. Come be an employee owner with the Harman team. Apply now at harmanenergy.com.
There's never a good time for your furnace to go out, especially in the winter, but it's always a good time to call Lee Company. Our heating and air conditioning pros are available 24/7. No heat? Don't wait. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000. Our expert technicians will diagnose the issue and fix it right the first time. When you're cold, you need someone you can count on to bring the heat. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
Blood Assurance, this community's local blood centers, is hiring for several open positions in the Nashville area. Be a part of a company that helps save lives by providing the local hospitals with the much-needed life source of blood. They offer competitive pay, great benefits, paid time off, and retirement benefits. Blood Assurance has a family-friendly environment. Go to bloodassurance.org/careers. Again, that's bloodassurance.org/careers to apply.
Tonight, your Nashville Predators are back in action to take on the Dallas Stars. Coverage begins at 6 on your home for Smashville. WPRT FM Peagrove, WBUC HD2 Laverne, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive. This is Robby and Rexrode. With Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley here with you on this Tuesday morning. Kitty Adams alongside as well. Joe Rexrode down in Florida. He'll be handling interviews for the Vols and Clemson Tigers coming up for the next hour. He'll be back on the program at 8 o'clock. So looking forward to his report from Florida. Right now we go to our 102.5 The Game phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com and welcome in our good friend Caroline Fenton from Stillman and Company. Caroline, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm great. How are y'all?
Well, you're awesome. Appreciate you taking time to be with us. So a lot to get to with you. We'll get into the college football playoff matchups taking place a little bit later this week. Get your thoughts on Tennessee and Clemson as well. But we begin with the Titans, Caroline. Obviously, another ugly loss on Saturday. They've lost 5 in a row, this time to the hands of the lowly Houston Texans. And right now, this offense is just brutal. Everything about it, brutal right now, other than Derrick Henry and the running game. What are your thoughts on just the collapse that we've seen from the Titans, going from 7-3 to 7-8 to get to this point, and what do you expect for that winner-take-all game down in Jacksonville for the AFC South coming up next week?
I mean, it's hard to think about anything other than what a freaking massive collapse of epic proportions. And I can't look at the firing of John Robinson and say that that had nothing to do with it. Because you look at what happened before John Robinson got fired. You know, you lose a very close game against a good Cincinnati Bengals team. And that was a close game. That was a hard-fought game that really could have gone either way. And then you lose a game to a Philadelphia Eagles team that's just better than you, a Philadelphia Eagles team that's the best team in the league. So I looked at those 2 losses back-to-back, and I thought, you know what, the Titans need to get back on track. It didn't look great, but, you know, this is a team that absolutely still has control of the division. And then John Robinson gets fired, and everything has gone downhill from there. And I'm not saying that these players on, you know, Saturday against the Texans were thinking about John Robinson, were so distracted thinking about how difficult of a time this must be for his family, so on and so forth. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying I think that sent a shockwave through this organization, and this team just hasn't looked the same since. So how do I feel about this winner-take-all game in Jacksonville? I mean, I look at it like all of the momentum is on Jacksonville's side. I look at it like ever since Jacksonville beat this Titans team a couple weeks ago, they've looked great. I mean, they have looked like that is exactly what that team needed to unlock something late in the season. And the Titans have just gone downhill ever since that game. So, I mean, I look at it like I'll take the hot team. I'll take the team that's looked better the past few weeks. I'll take the team that has all the momentum on their side. And I hate to say that. And I hate to say that the Titans are going to give up this massive lead on the division. But looking at these 2 teams right now, I don't know how I can think anything otherwise.
Well, Caroline, big picture with the Titans, and this is kind of a discussion that on our text line keeps going back and forth with people feeling, you know, a bunch of different ways about it. But looking at the big picture of this group, is it time for the Titans to tear it down and rebuild? Do you have one more kick at the can with Tannehill at quarterback and Henry at running back, and you run it back with those guys next year? Like, what's your thoughts on kind of where the Titans go from here? Obviously, we know that they've got to hire a general manager, and we don't know who that's going to be yet. But what's your thoughts on exactly what the Titans should do once this offseason arrives?
Yeah, I said this on Stillman & Company on Thursday. I think you run it back with Tannehill for one more year in 2023. Because you have a couple of options, right? You can draft a quarterback, which the Titans aren't going to have good enough draft position to do. So let's throw that out. You could start Malik Willis in 2023. And I don't really see how that is the best opportunity for this Titans, the best thing for this Titans team in 2023, because you still have good pieces. You're going to re-sign Jeffrey Simmons in the offseason. You're going to have Derrick Henry on your team in 2023, albeit maybe not 2020 Derrick Henry. It's Derrick Henry with a few steps taken back since those years, but it's still Derrick Henry nonetheless. So I think we have all seen on full display on Saturday, and also even before that in the season, that Malik Willis just is not ready to be a starting quarterback in this league. And I think that if you start Malik Willis in 2023, he is your starting quarterback, that is sending a message to the rest of the team that, hey, we really don't care about winning very many games. So I would run it back with Ryan Tannehill in 2023, understanding what your ceiling and what your floor is with Tannehill. And I think we all really know what it is with Tannehill. He's not going to win you a Super Bowl single-handedly, but he's going to win you enough games that you're going to make the playoffs and you're at least going to be competitive. You're going to keep things interesting. So I say run it back with Ryan Tannehill in 2023, reevaluate after that whether you want to trade a bunch of picks to trade up in the draft for a quarterback in the 2024 draft, or whether that's trade a bunch of picks for a proven commodity, kind of go the Matthew Stafford Los Angeles Rams way, whatever it might be. But I say run it back with Tannehill in 2023 and then go from there.
Caroline Fenton with us here on Robby and Rexrode. So Caroline, Tennessee taking on Clemson coming up on Friday in the Orange Bowl. What do you think of that matchup? And what sort of an opportunity is this for this Tennessee team against that program that's done a whole lot of winning and has had a whole lot of success over the past decade? What sort of an opportunity is this for the Vols coming up on Friday?
Yeah, it's truly the orangest Orange Bowl that has ever Orange Bowled. I'm really excited for this opportunity for Tennessee because I don't think that this is the Clemson team that we know from 2016, the national championship Clemson team. But this Clemson team still has the reputation of being a really good team. So I would say that more so than the Vols being able to prove themselves in a New Year's Six Bowl on a national stage against a team that has a really good reputation and a really good culture, I would say more than anything, this is an opportunity for Joe Milton. Because this is an opportunity for Joe Milton to show off what he can do. This is call it, his tryout, his audition to be the starter in 2023. I would say this is the biggest opportunity for him to kind of shake any reputation that he may have as, Joe Milton overthrows, as Joe Milton can't be the starter, as being the quarterback that lost the starting job to Hendon Hooker, a quarterback who took this program to levels that I didn't think that they could reach this soon in the Josh Heupel era. I think this is an opportunity for Joe Milton to prove himself. And maybe this is also an opportunity for Joe Milton to prove, hey, he's still the quarterback that lost his job, and for a good reason. He's still a quarterback that doesn't have what it takes to truly, bring this Tennessee team back to the level and even to the next level they have in 2022 next year. But I think that more than this team, more than this program, it is going to be all eyes on Joe Milton, and for good reason.
Well, and then, Caroline, you've got the college football playoff coming up this weekend. The semifinals getting underway. Georgia taking on Ohio State, TCU and Michigan. Let's just start with Georgia and Ohio State. How much of a game do you think this Ohio State team, and specifically C.J. Stroud and this offense, can give Georgia coming up on Saturday?
I am not a believer in this Ohio State team, and maybe that is short-sighted of me. Maybe I'm incredibly incorrect, and this is going to be an interesting game against Georgia. But I look at Ohio State. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'm not, studying Ohio State. I'm not watching every single game, and writing notes. But I look at Ohio State. I watched that Ohio State-Purdue game, and I wasn't impressed. I wasn't impressed with C.J. Stroud, and I wasn't impressed with this team. And then I look at the Ohio State-Michigan game, the biggest game on Ohio State's schedule, and the best opportunity for Ohio State to prove to people that, hey, we can only play who's on our schedule, but the biggest game against our biggest rival on our home turf, we can really prove what we've got, and they got blown out by Michigan. So I think C.J. Stroud is a good quarterback, but I don't really necessarily believe in this Ohio State team to go further than that. And I think that we've all seen on multiple occasions just how freaking good Georgia really is. I mean, Georgia is not a team that I think turned it on every week. We saw it against Kent State. We saw it against Missouri. I mean, Georgia have had their fair share of fumbles this year, but to me, Georgia is a team that has proven that on the big stages, against Tennessee on the biggest game of the year, against LSU in the SEC championship, and I think, again, against Ohio State this weekend, they're a team that proves that they are the best team in the country, and they can really turn it on the biggest stages when it really matters. So I think Georgia wins handedly, and I think they continue to roll. They continue the theme that they've proven all season long, that they can beat some of the top teams in the country, and they can do it handedly.
Well, and then the other matchup, Caroline, TCU and Michigan. Obviously, Michigan undefeated out of the Big Ten. You got Max Duggan and TCU trying to keep up with Michigan in that game. Obviously, Michigan's the favorite. What sort of a chance do you give TCU to hang around and maybe ultimately pull off the upset this weekend?
Yeah, I kind of go with the same kind of idea as the Georgia-Ohio State game. I think that this is going to be a game where Michigan absolutely rolls. And I'll use the same argument that I used for Ohio State, that, hey, this is the biggest game, Ohio State-Michigan, the biggest game on your schedule, one of the biggest rivalries in college football. So it's, the biggest game of the year that you can really prove how good you truly are. And I think Michigan proved that against Ohio State. Yes. And Michigan is a team that I think silently all season long leading up to that Ohio State game was really, really, really good. But we all looked at it like, okay, we'll do it against a good team and then we'll believe you. And they did it against Ohio State. They did it handedly. And we're all like, okay, yep, Michigan's pretty legit. And I think that doing it without Blake Corum also proved that, hey, without one of our top players, without one of our, players who the offense runs through, we can still beat really good teams. So I think Michigan is going to be able to win handedly. I think it'll be Georgia and Michigan in the national championship, which kind of further proves that we don't really need a 12-team playoff, that we really could be fine with just the top two teams in the country.
Caroline, last thing for you. How excited are you about the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl coming up next week between LSU and Purdue? I know you've got this one circled.
Yeah, you know what I say, Robby? Why play in the national title game when you can play in the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl?
It's a great question.
Really kind of just gets me going. Love that kind of matchup. The bowl season, baby. No, I'm excited. I mean, I think that this is going to be a really cool opportunity for LSU, going into next year, kind of with a little bit more of a quarterback controversy, how they approach the quarterback position and kind of how we see some of LSU's defensive players on display. 3 of their defensive linemen already have opted out of the bowl game and are entering the NFL draft. So it's going to be an exciting opportunity to see some of these young guys on display. But really, that's kind of it for me. Excited to see LSU play one more game this season. It's a bowl game nonetheless. But I feel like LSU has played in the Citrus Bowl like 17 times in the past 20 years. So it just kind of feels like home, truly.
Well, the combination of the Cheez-Its and the Citrus Bowl, it really does it for me.
Nothing
I love
goes
it. Can't
together.
wait.
That's why I like Cheez-Its and citrus.
Can't wait for that coming up next Monday.
Love
Caroline, great stuff as always. We appreciate you taking time to be with us this morning, and we'll talk to you next week.
Awesome. Appreciate you, Robby. Y'all have a good one.
All right. Caroline Fenton, our guest here on Robby and Rexrode, joins us every Tuesday morning at 7 o'clock. We'll take your thoughts on the Titans, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. We'll have David Beauclair from SI.com coming up at 7:30. All that ahead. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 1025, 1063, The Game.
Sanders for the touchdown, 48 yards.
Former NFL wide receiver Chris Sanders joined Stillman and Company to give his thoughts on all things Titans and NFL. Fueled by Parman Energy, now hiring fuel drivers. Apply now at ParmanEnergy.com on 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Treat yourself to the gifts you really wanted at the Electronic Express Huge After Christmas Sale. Our convenient locations have great deals on all of your favorite brands like Samsung, LG, Apple, Sony, and more. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department. 4K TVs, computers, appliances, housewares, gaming, and more. Save up to 40% with up to 48 months free financing. Shop in-store or online and get free express delivery on most items. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
There's never a good time for your furnace to go out, especially in the winter, but it's always a good time to call Lee Company. Our heating and air conditioning pros are available 24/7. No heat? Don't wait. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000. Our expert technicians will diagnose the issue and fix it right the first time. When you're cold, you need someone you can count on to bring the heat. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
If you own a house, you've got a huge asset, and everyone's looking at it. With Wall Street investors buying up homes in Nashville and renting them out like never before, you have to wonder, what do they see in your big asset that you don't? The truth is, if you sell your home instead of renting it, you can kiss your asset goodbye. Especially with today's higher interest rates, the best way to save your asset is to rent it out instead. Go to renterswarehouse.com to book your free home rental price analysis today. Or call 615-398-9550. Renters Warehouse. You can't buy happiness, but you can rent it.
When you're an innovative business, every blinking cursor, every blank page is an opportunity. What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with tools and expertise to do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel V Pro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
Well, you've got the whole world listening. What do you got to say? Never miss a moment of the show. Subscribe to the Robby and Rexrode podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. We may now begin our day. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. We are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. We are taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Make sure you tune in later this morning at 8:45 for your chance to participate in Preds Pick to Click and win a pair of tickets to a future Preds home game. Pick to Click brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Visit tjandersonhomes.com to see why they're referred to so often. And Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today. Robbie Stanley here with you alongside Kenny Adams. Joe Rexrode will be back on the show at 8 o'clock. He's down in Fort Lauderdale, Florida for Tennessee and Clemson. So media availability is underway, and we'll get an update from Joe coming up at 8 o'clock as the Vols prepare to take on Clemson coming up on Friday. We'll have David Beauclair from SI.com coming up at 7:30 as well. I will say we had Caroline Fenton on in the last segment. And Kenny, when she was talking about Michigan, I heard you getting a little excited back there. You're feeling good about your Wolverines.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. But hey, still got 2 games to go. So, hey.
How nervous are you for this game against TCU coming up on Saturday?
Okay, so against TCU, like, I really haven't watched them that much, but what I see, like, you know, any game counts. And so you got to bring your A game every single time you bring it. So any game counts, and I'm not going to doubt them any kind of way and say that we're going to blow them out and all that kind of stuff, because if I do that, next thing you know, my team will lose. And so I'm just going to go ahead and just ride this wave, hope they win, and then we'll deal with Georgia and hope they win. And, yeah, that's where I'm at right now. That's my happy
strategy. I like the way you're thinking there. We'll have a little bit more on the college football playoff coming up later this week as well. So I want to get into the Malik Willis discussion a little bit more, because we're getting some thoughts on the text line. Matt from DC has weighed in. Gunner has weighed in on the Malik Willis situation and says, look at who's coaching Malik. He needs someone in the building to develop him, and that's not here. And look, I don't know from a development standpoint how good the Titans are at developing young quarterbacks with this staff. I mean, we've seen Jake Locker roll through here, Vince Young roll through here, Marcus Mariota, all those guys, but nobody's still here from that time. So this staff at developing young quarterbacks, how good are they? I don't know. I mean, Malik Willis is the highest drafted quarterback they've had since Mike Vrabel has taken over as head coach. How good is he and his staff at developing talent? I do think when you watch Malik Willis play, I do think there has been some progress from what we saw in the preseason. I thought in the Chargers game, when he came in relief of Tannehill when he was out with the injury, I thought there was more comfortability there. I thought he looked a little bit more decisive with some of his throws than he had previously. There were some times on Saturday against Houston where I thought he looked pretty good and he made some good decisions. There were also some times where I thought he looked pretty bad and didn't make good decisions, wasn't necessarily accurate with the ball. And the thing with me is, like, at some point, like, you got to be able to throw the ball down the field, over the middle of the field with some confidence, with some regularity to you. And it just kind of feels like the Titans are limited when Malik Willis is in there. So, we said this earlier. I don't know that what we've seen from Malik Willis so far is necessarily an indictment on his career and how it's going to play out. He's a young guy. He wasn't supposed to play this year. He was selected in the 3rd round for a reason. We talked about it last week. There are obviously some traits that he brings to the table that have 1st-round talent written on it. I mean, I've watched him throw some passes this year where you're like, wow, that kid's got a heck of an arm. There was one play, I think it was in the Kansas City game, where he's basically just rolling back and he's being chased and he throws it off his back foot on a rope to the sideline right over the shoulder. Like, it was a play where if you were Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, whoever, like, you couldn't throw the ball any better than Malik Willis threw it on that play. And he'll make some plays like that every now and then where you're like, wow, what a throw from Malik Willis. So obviously the ability is there. He's got some ability to him. But as we know, the quarterback position, it's about so much more than just raw talent. We've seen a lot of guys come in with raw talent that haven't worked in the NFL. So again, I'm not saying Malik Willis can't work here with the Titans. I'm interested to see what the approach is going to be for them this offseason. Do they give him the keys next year and they say, hey, man, this is your team. We're going to see what you got. Do they run it back with Ryan Tannehill? I don't know. I don't know who's going to be part of that decision-making process right now. We'll have to wait and see what the new general manager thinks on that. All I'm saying is I watch Malik Willis play right now, and I think he's pretty far away from being a quality NFL starter. And honestly, like, I don't know how you could watch him play so far and come away with really anything different of an opinion. Again, that doesn't necessarily mean that he can't get there, but I don't think it's likely. Like, let's establish this first. And Joe talks about this all the time. In terms of likelihood of quarterbacks working out and being what you want them to be anyway, regardless of where they're drafted, the likelihood's pretty small. I mean, we can go up and down the list of 1st-round picks, number 1 overall picks, whatever list you want to go down as quarterbacks that haven't worked out in the NFL. So it's unlikely anyway. And now you're talking about a guy that's been selected in the 3rd round and fell in the draft, and the Titans felt like they got him at a place where it could be a pretty good bargain. And we'll see what happens with Malik Willis. But I don't know how you could watch him play right now based on the body of work that we've seen and feel comfortable that he's going to be a good starting NFL quarterback as soon as next year. I get it. There's an off season. You can make a lot of improvements. And one complaint, one point that's brought up on the text line that I think is beyond fair to bring up is look what he's working with out there. This receiving core is awful. And we've talked about it all year. They've had some moments where they've looked good. It was good to get Treylon Burks back in there on Saturday, even though he didn't do much in that game. Westbrook Akine's had his moments. Even Robert Woods has had moments this year where he's looked okay. But this receiving core is bad. I mean, it's a bad receiving core. There's no other way to say it. The offensive line is bad, particularly in pass protection, and particularly at left tackle with Dennis Daly. We know all these things. So it's not all Malik Willis, his fault when you start talking about the passing game struggles from what we saw on Saturday against the Texans. The whole picture is bad offensively right now, really outside of Derrick Henry, especially when he's holding on to the football, Derrick Henry. Other than that, there's not much to work with offensively right now. So I get all that. But Malik Willis, I mean, the numbers are what they are. And quite frankly, I think regardless of what you think about Todd Downing, I think the game plan that he and Vrabel have put together when Malik Willis has been the starting quarterback kind of shows you what they think of Malik Willis and where he's at in his development right now. There's a limited amount of things that you can do with Malik Willis being your quarterback. He's not ready. I mean, he's not ready to be out there. And, we'll see how he continues to improve as he moves forward here. I think one thing that is fair to bring up is the offensive coordinator. And we've talked about this a lot with Todd Downing and his future here with the Titans. I don't know what that's going to look like. I've made kind of my stance on this pretty clear. I think if things continue the way that they've gone, barring some miracle playoff run that right now just seems so far out of the realm of possibility that it's almost not worth talking about, barring that happening, I don't really know how you could bring Todd Downing back next year as offensive coordinator. I just don't. I mean, you can go up and down the list of excuses if you want to, and I think some of them are valid. Injuries certainly have played a part. But the bottom line is Todd Downing has been an offensive coordinator in the National Football League for now 3 seasons, 1 with the Raiders and now 2 with the Titans. And the offenses haven't been very good. I mean, that's the bottom line. So at some point, the results are what they are, and you have to react accordingly if you're the Titans and if you're Amy Adams-Strunk. So I think that's the way that things will go this offseason. But you never know with Mike Vrabel. Like Mike Vrabel, as we talked about last week, they haven't had many opportunities to display this just because, I mean, Arthur Smith got hired away as a head coach. You can't really stop that. The Shane Bowen example was the one you could think of, but even that one's a little bit different than this one with Todd Downing. Bowen was there for 1 year. He wasn't officially the defensive coordinator. We talked about the title and not really giving him that if you're Vrabel. It's not the same situation. And then there's Tim Kelly kind of sitting there in the wings as the passing game coordinator. The Downing situation is different from the Shane Bowen situation. But if things continue to go the way they are right now, I don't know how you could bring Todd Downing back. So if you do go get a new offensive coordinator and you make a good hire, how much could that help Malik Willis? How much can an offseason in the program, continuing to work with Pat O'Hara, the quarterback's coach, how much does that help Malik Willis? It's difficult for me to get to a spot, regardless of the amount of improvement that he makes, where I would feel comfortable about him being the starting quarterback next year if you want to win. And that's the question. How much are the Titans going to want to win next year? Are they trying to tear this roster down? Are they trying to run it back with this group one more time and get to the playoffs? I don't know what the answer is, but the Malik Willis discussion, I think there's some that are taking it a little too far on both extremes. One side of things not really wanting to blame him for anything, and the other side of things maybe wanting to blame him for the whole picture that we saw out there on Saturday. And I think like most things when it comes to quarterbacks in the NFL, the truth lies somewhere in the middle. And I'm interested to see if he's back out there on Thursday, which I think he will be. Can there be improvement from Saturday to Thursday against the Cowboys defense that if they have their starters, I mean, they're going to wreak havoc on that Titans offensive line. So really interested to see what happens on that front. Coming up next, we'll be joined by David Beauclair from SI.com. We'll get his thoughts on the Titans as they prepare for the Dallas Cowboys coming up on Thursday. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
This is Tanner Janot, and this is Smashville.
And now down the right wing side, Tanner Janot. His shot, he scored! Tanner Janot with a shot!
This is the flagship of the Nashville Predators Radio Network. ESPN 102.5, The Game.
Hey, it's Jared. If you're listening to us on I-24 towards Murfreesboro or I-65 towards Spring Hill, make sure you check out 106.3 for another great way to hear Nashville's best sports talk.
Blood Assurance, this community's local blood centers, is hiring for several open positions in the Nashville area. Be a part of a company that helps save lives by providing the local hospitals with the much-needed life source of blood. They offer competitive pay, great benefits, paid time off, and retirement benefits. Blood Assurance has a family-friendly environment. Go to bloodassurance.org/careers. Again, that's bloodassurance.org/careers to apply. Preds fans, Superbook wants to send one lucky fan a pair of tickets on the ice. Text the keyword Superbook, all one word, to 615-737-1025 for entry to win.
Hey, it's Hutton. Interest rates are rising, but not at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. Replace your old unit fast before new regulations increase prices up to 20%. Get a new unit today at today's price and receive up to $1,500 off, or get 18 months of no payments, so the first payment is not until spring of 2024. At Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, all new systems come with a 10-year parts and labor warranty. Schedule your appointment now at springhillac.com. That's springhillac.com.
Celebrate New Year's Eve at Rebar at the Dam. Ring in your Nashville New Year with live music from Backlit performing on stage. As always, watch all the big games on the giant video walls and multiple TVs. Advance tickets on sale now. Single $15, couples $25. Rebar at the Dam. Why fight the downtown crowds when you have a party right in your own backyard? Plenty of free, well-lit parking. Rebar at the Dam, just off Stewart's Ferry Pike. It's a damn good time.
All of us who work for Cromwell Media, the owner of this radio station, take a great deal of pride in our work. We honor each other for making a difference on our team and in our community. This month, we're congratulating Austin Fullwider, who handles our commercial logs for 6 years of service, and Sean Fort, our Director of Sales, along with David Janes, one of our part-time producers on 102.5, 106.3 The Game, are each celebrating 2-year anniversaries. Want to be part of what we do? Contact us at together@cromwellmedia.com and let's have a conversation.
Jonathan Hutton.
You have to put the ball in his hands in that moment.
And Chad Withrow.
My kicker's making no decisions on a football team.
Are in the game. Join them for NFL postgame after every Titans home game. Live from Landshark Bar and Grill in Margaritaville on Broadway. They'll break down that day's game and look ahead to the next one. NFL postgame is presented by Two Rivers Ford, Renter's Warehouse, and Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Vanderbilt head coach Jerry Stackhouse. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robbie Stanley alongside Kenny Adams here with you on this Tuesday morning. Joe Rexrode down in Florida, handling some duties right now as Tennessee and Clemson prepare to face off in the Orange Bowl coming up on Friday. Joe will be back on the program at 8 o'clock. We'll get a Vols update from him, so looking forward to that. Right now, we go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in our good friend David Beauclair from SI.com. David, good morning. Merry Christmas. How are we doing?
Robert, how are you? I'm doing great.
I'm wonderful. Thanks for taking time to be with us this morning. So, David, we've had a lot of discussion about the Titans so far this morning. They've lost 5 in a row. They've gone from 7-3 to 7-8, and now are staring down the barrel of a winner-take-all game in Jacksonville coming up in a couple of weeks to decide the division. What's just your 30,000-foot view of this collapse by the Titans, how they've gotten to this point, and what you think this all means for the direction, the future of this franchise?
Yeah, it's the last part of that's a really good question, particularly since you're going to have a new GM coming in, whether it's Ryan Cowden gets to keep the job or somebody comes in from the outside and takes a look at this thing. I think it certainly points to I don't know if it's a complete rebuild, but certainly it makes more sense to sort of tear this thing down a little bit and rather than just try and plug holes. And I think the biggest thing in that effort is probably going to be the quarterback position. I think, we haven't seen, I don't think anybody has seen exactly what they want out of Malik Willis yet, but it's certainly easier to address the kind of things that you're going to need to address with this roster if you have a quarterback on a rookie contract as opposed to, Ryan Tannehill, who, this year has the highest salary cap number of any player in the NFL. I think, I think in particular, if you rebuild that offensive line, you give Malik Willis more time and comfort in the pocket. You give Derrick Henry a better chance to run the football and take pressure off Malik Willis and all that. I think that's where it's going to have to start, and that's kind of where I see this thing going. And I think it's probably fascinating for Mike Vrabel too, when you think about all the success he's had as a coach here, when you think about what he accomplished last year with this roster and 91 players and all of that. I think he came out of last season feeling a little bit bulletproof. I remember he made a comment at a press conference early in the off season where it was he sort of defiantly told us, well, I'm going to be here for a while, and and I don't think anyone was ever doubting or challenging him on that front. But I think it sort of spoke to the sense he felt at that point. Then he got the contract extension. John Robinson got the contract extension. You thought, okay, this is the way things are going to be for a while. And now John Robinson is gone. That had to be eye-opening for Mike Vrabel. Then not being able to find answers here these last 5 weeks. It's probably a really interesting time for him as a head coach in terms of his process, because he has always been a guy who never thought he had all the answers when he came here. He was very self-analytical. I thought he evolved very quickly and very well on the job, and this is going to force him probably to do some more things differently, much more so than he has probably done the last couple of years.
Well, David, you brought up Malik Willis, and I mean, you're exactly right. I think we could all agree that you've not seen a ton from him so far. Now, the whole picture with him, realizing that in a perfect world, he shouldn't have played this year if Ryan Tannehill was healthy, and everything that goes into it. He's a 3rd-round pick. It's not like you drafted him 5th overall or anything like that. What do you make of what you have seen from Malik Willis and what it could mean for his future? Because we've heard from some Titans fans that are already totally out on Malik Willis so far today.
Yeah, he, with the exception of maybe this last game, I think you've seen a guy who learns very quickly. You can see marked improvement from game to game. You saw it in the preseason. You saw him; he was better in Kansas City than he was against Houston. When he went in there against the Chargers, looked comfortable, looked confident, and Mike Vrabel even said he thought he took a little step back in this game. But he is a guy who understands the process. He talks about that quite a bit. That it's all about evolving and getting better every day. That sort of thing. He seems to. You get the sense it's not just lip service with him when he says that. He really buys into that. And that being said, this whole past off season and preseason and all that, it was all about trying to get Malik Willis in position to be the number 2 quarterback. And so I think this whole next off season and preseason and everything is going to be all about trying to get Malik Willis in position and ready to be the number 1 quarterback. I honestly don't think Mike Vrabel has ever gotten over what Kyler Murray did to this team in week 1 of last season. And I think Mike Vrabel came out of that game going, wow, that is what this league is becoming. That is what quarterback position is going to be in this league, and we've got to get on board with that. When you look at what Justin Fields has done this year, what Lamar Jackson continues to do, and those sorts of things, I think there's Jalen Hurts obviously in Philadelphia. It's either you're either going that way or you're going the Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert route, and I really think that it's not an accident that Malik Willis is here. The Titans made the move to up a couple spots to draft him. I think when he was there at that spot, that was where Mike Vrabel said, yes, I want a guy like that. I want this particular guy. Let's see what we can do with a quarterback like that going down the road here.
David Beauclair from SI.com with us here on Robby and Rexrode. So David, you've been around this team for a long time, obviously. And look, there have been times that have been way worse than what we've seen right now. I think back to the Ken Wisenhunt times, but just being in the locker room, how fragile do you think the mindset of this team is right now? Is that maybe overstepping it a little bit much? Where do you think this team is psychologically as they prepare for the final 2 games of this season on a 5-game losing streak?
Yeah, I wouldn't call them fragile. It's a high frustration level, guys. They want to. No one is saying, okay, well, this season's over. But they want to find a way to win. And you look at this 5-game losing streak, right? They've been in 4 of these games right at the end, and it's interesting when you talk about against a terrible team like Houston. It's been against a really, really good team like Cincinnati. It's been against a team that's gotten on a roll at the right time like Jacksonville. Like it sort of doesn't matter the caliber of the opponent. It's the same things that are haunting the Titans right now. They are, they've managed to keep the score down for the most part, and there's just one thing that happens, whether it's you give up the big completion to Mike Williams in Los Angeles, whether it's Derrick Henry fumbling the ball for the third week in a row. It's kind of just, you hear it from players and coaches all the time. Oh, it's just 2 or 3 plays during the course of a game. If they were different. In this case, I think it's actually true. They just can't make that one play when they need to, or they make just that one mistake at exactly the wrong time. And so I think I think that's part of the frustration. It's not that they feel like they're outmanned. It's not that they feel like they're out-schemed. It's that they feel like they just can't deliver in the moment the way we have seen this team deliver in those big moments the last couple of years, even earlier this season, right? They're sitting there looking at themselves, looking at each other, going, we have done this. We have done this repeatedly. Why can't we do it again right now? And that's what they have to sort out here. And I would assume this Dallas game is going to be a lot closer than a lot of people think, because that's the way this team does it. It just they manage to hang in there, and if they do rest a lot of guys, that's going to make it harder to have somebody to make that play in the given moment. But that's what they're going to be looking for on Thursday night again, I would assume.
Well, David, to that point, so like you said, I mean, it's an interesting game coming up on Thursday from the standpoint of, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter because we know it's going to come down to the Jacksonville game the week after that. But you have lost 5 games in a row. Like, how important is it to just try to get a win on Thursday? And how do you think the Titans handle this game from a rest standpoint? Like, do you think Derrick Henry plays? How do you think the Titans go about handling this one?
Yeah, it's funny. I keep going back and forth on this because there's precedent for this, right? We saw it in 2019 when the next to last week of the regular season, the Titans had a meaningless game in terms of their playoff chances. And Mike Vrabel rested a bunch of players, and then they go to Houston the next week and they win, and they get the last AFC wild card spot, and off they go and put together a nice playoff run there. So you would say, well, clearly that's what Mike Vrabel's going to do again this time. That worked for him. But the difference is, back then, 3 years ago, they had won 4 of 5 going into that game against New Orleans. They were playing good football. They had reasons to feel confident and relaxed about the idea of resting some people. 5 losses in a row. Can you afford to tell anybody, yeah, just take the night off? You're good. We'll see you. We'll see you next week in Jacksonville and go play. I ultimately think that's probably what they're going to do. Maybe not as many guys, but I think Derrick Henry's a prime candidate to say, you know what, just sit down, take a rest, and we'll let the young guys handle it in this one. But it's I don't think it's as easy a decision this time as it was 3 years ago. Just because that you have to do something right now to establish a winning, or at least try to establish a winning mindset going into that game against Jacksonville. I think at Houston 3 years ago, there was very much a sense of, we've got this thing. We're rolling. Yeah, we took the week off. That's good for us. And I don't know that it's the same thing this time.
David, last thing for you here. You came out with a really interesting piece last night on SI.com about a winning formula for the Titans in the past that was almost automatic over the course of the past 2-3 years that really has not been the case so far this year. Without giving the whole article away, just kind of tell our listeners what you come out with on SI.com last night.
Yeah, it's fascinating. The one thing you could count on with this team, right, was that if Derrick Henry rushed for 100 yards, they were going to win and are almost certainly going to win. And that's kind of what I go back to the formula for this team and the things that have worked for them in the past. This is one of those things that all of a sudden it's not working. The last 3 games and the last 4 times overall that he has rushed for 100+ yards, they have lost. It started with the Kansas City game, and before that Kansas City game, they were 26-3 when he rushed for 100 yards or more. And now all of a sudden he's lost more games. They've lost more games with him rushing for 100 yards than in the last month and a half here than they did in the whole 6+ seasons with him before that. It's it's one of those things that has to have the coaches just banging their heads against the wall right now, saying, this is the one thing we could always count on, and they can't even do that right now. So that might be one of the reasons you say, okay, Derrick Henry, you take a rest, because even that's not working for us right now. So let's just get you in particular in the best shape possible and see if maybe we can get back to that in week 18.
Well, David, great stuff as always. Really appreciate you taking time to be with us this morning. Happy New Year, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for having me, Robbie. Same to you.
Absolutely. David Beauclair from SI.com, our guest here on Robby and Rexrode. We'll take your thoughts on the Titans, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. More of that coming up next. Preds fans, hang out before the Preds games at the Superbook Lounge and Landshark Bar and Grill, Margaritaville on Broadway with 102.5, 106.3 The Game. You can place your bets with Superbook and enjoy great food and drink specials, plus enter for a chance to win a pair of tickets to an upcoming Preds home game. Preds back in action tonight, taking on the Dallas Stars. We'll have more on that coming up a little bit later in the show. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Every Wednesday at noon.
No matter the down and distance and no matter the score, they're going to give him the football.
Outkick 360's Jonathan Hutton joins Chase, Willie, and D-Mace to talk all things Titans and NFL.
I hope that they're not throwing flags simply because the league wants to see more of them.
He's got opinions and insights on the two-tone blue.
They are not as good at wide receiver and the playmaking department.
Catch Hutton every Wednesday at noon. Presented by Blend Bar with Davidoff Cigars and by Ed Lee's Barbecue on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 meteorologist Greg Bopus. Cool to start the morning, but the afternoon right up near the 30-degree mark. However, we have to do with a little bit of snow early in the day. That tapers off late afternoon into this evening, and then we'll stay calm for the rest of the upcoming week.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Boom Boss Craft Pizza and Tap House invites you to join them for this year's college football bowl games and playoff action. Georgia, Michigan, TCU, or Ohio State, who will be the last one standing? Boom Boss has countless big screen TVs and the biggest video wall in Nashville at their East Nashville location. So watch it all go down and enjoy their 2-time award-winning Best Pizza in America, featured on the Food Network and 100% crafted for you. Wash it all down with their award-winning happy hour with $2 Boom Brews and select domestic pints. Boom Boss Craft Pizza and Tap House in East Nashville, 1003 Russell Street. Pizza, beer, sports. See you there, Nashville.
O'Reilly. See the road ahead more clearly with Sylvania Bulbs and O'Reilly Auto Parts. Right now, purchase select Sylvania bulbs and get up to a $20 gift card after mail-in rebate, plus 2 times O-Rewards points. Replace your bulbs today and see better tonight. Let the professional parts people help you find the bulbs you need. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts or O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Fansville, where the refs are always wrong and Dr. Pepper is always right. Always. Where the mountains are capped with cooler ice and children learn the 23 flavors of Dr. Pepper before they learn the alphabet. Smart. It's the one place where a man is a 6 unless he's wearing face paint.
He's a 10.
And where fans deserve a Dr. Pepper no matter if they win or lose.
But we're gonna win.
Get ready for anything to happen this college football season on Fansville by Dr. Pepper.
The one fans deserve.
Grab some today.
Informative.
They played a lot of power play time together back in the day.
Insightful.
It's a great addition to this team.
And just 3 guys being dudes.
On the sideline in shorts and a t-shirt.
Hanging out, watching the game.
Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. Weekdays from 10 to 2.
No such thing as bad press.
On Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Make sure you play silly underdog picks today. Pick 3 football underdog teams you think will win this week for a chance to win great prizes. You can play now at thegamenashville.com or the Game Nashville app. Silly underdog picks presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket and Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today. Robbie Stanley alongside Kenny Adams. Joe Rexrode down in Miami in advance of Tennessee taking on Clemson in the Orange Bowl coming up later this week. He'll be back on the show at 8 o'clock. We'll get a Vols update from him, some media availability going on down there right now as we speak in Miami. So looking forward to that. Coming up on in just a few minutes with Rexrode back on the program. Right now, taking your thoughts on the Titans, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Got a texter on the text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com that says, why wasn't there a veteran quarterback backup on the roster? You say Malik wasn't supposed to play this year, then the organization should have been better prepared if Tannehill got injured. And that's, number one, a really good question, a good point, and we brought that up kind of when the decision was made. You know, this is not really new information from Malik Willis not supposed to be playing this year and not being ready to play. Why did you not have a better veteran option? And that goes back to maybe some decisions that John Robinson made that is a part of why he's not here any longer. But, I mean, the bottom line is we also knew that if Tannehill got hurt, you were probably in some serious trouble if you were the Titans this year. The way that things have played out in the division, you can make a case where if you had a quarterback maybe with a little bit more experience, maybe you win the Kansas City game, maybe you win on Saturday against Houston, and maybe you're in a different spot in terms of where you're sitting in the standings right now. I don't know. We could play the what-if game all day, but it's certainly, I think, a fair question of why was there not maybe more a veteran, experienced type quarterback to be the backup, and Malik Willis could basically have the redshirt year that we thought he might have. I mean, you can play revisionist history now, but I think that's a great question that's brought up on the text line. You know, one thing that David brought up in the last segment that I'm really interested to see this week, you know, on paper, this is a game Thursday that means nothing for the Titans. We know that it's going to be the Titans and the Jags in the division, and the winner of that game is going to win the AFC South coming up next Sunday. So we know that's going to be the case. But you have lost 5 games in a row. The fan base right now, I think, is equal parts frustrated and in some cases just ready for the season to be over so that they can see what the plan is for the Titans as they move forward here. Very little Titans fans that I've seen are excited about the idea of winning the division and getting to the playoffs, and then in their minds getting bounced in the first round of the playoffs. So I get it. I understand all that. But for Vrabel, I mean, you've got a job to do. You've got a team to coach. And for this game coming up on Thursday against Dallas, we've talked about it. The Cowboys technically still have things to play for. I mean, they have their division in front of them. They're probably going to end up being the 5 seed when things are all said and done. So we'll see how they approach the game from a strategy standpoint on Thursday, but they've got things to play for. The idea right now of Micah Parsons rushing the quarterback and lining up where Dennis Daly lines up should be a terrifying thought. It's a terrifying thought to me right now. I'm sure it is for most Titans fans thinking about it. But what's your mindset in this game if you're the Titans? I do think you'll see some players that are maybe on the fringe health-wise either be limited in this game or not play at all in this game because ultimately the result doesn't matter. But from a psychological standpoint, you've lost 5 in a row. Do you really want to be on a 6-game losing streak at 7-9 heading into that last game against Jacksonville? I don't know. I mean, I agree with David. It's a much tougher decision than it was the last time. I think back to that Saints game where you knew that it was going to come down to the Houston game the week after. And basically the Titans rested Derrick Henry. He had a hamstring issue that was cropping up in that game. It was a pretty easy decision that Saints game a few years ago didn't mean a whole lot. And then the Titans got Derrick Henry healthy and he ran for about 220 yards, and the rest was history after that. This is a little bit of a different situation, coming in with the momentum being what it is. And also, like quarterback-wise, are you going with Malik Willis again Thursday and then preparing for him to be your starter in that final game against Jacksonville? Or do you give Josh Dobbs an opportunity? I said this earlier in the show. Like, I'm under no illusion that Josh Dobbs is going to be like a starting level NFL quarterback. I just don't think he is. I think he can be a good backup. I think when he's on, he can make some plays, both throwing the football and running the football as well. But we've talked about it with Josh Dobbs. I mean, he had accuracy issues at Tennessee, and being a consistent high-level passer in the NFL requires you to be insanely accurate. And I just don't know that Josh Dobbs is there. But the question that you got to ask yourself, if you're Vrabel, Todd Downing, and this staff moving forward, who gives you a better chance to win the Jacksonville game? Is it Malik Willis or is it Josh Dobbs? Now, they may determine that it is Malik Willis. I don't know. I mean, Josh Dobbs, you look through the history of his career, it feels like he's been in the NFL forever. He hadn't played a whole lot. I mean, he played behind Ben Roethlisberger in Pittsburgh. He's barely been on the field. I mean, heading into the last game before Malik Willis played on Saturday, he had already completed as many passes as Josh Dobbs had attempted in his career. So it's not like there's a ton of playing experience there with Josh Dobbs at the NFL level. Who gives you the best opportunity to win the Jacksonville game? It's one of those things that I don't know the answer. If I had to guess right now, I'd probably lean Josh Dobbs. I just think operationally, he gives you a better chance to actually have a passing game in this matchup against Jacksonville. Do you give him the game on Thursday against Dallas maybe to get ready? Potentially. I mean, you're still talking about by the time you kick the ball off on Thursday, Josh Dobbs will have been here just over a week at that point. Is that enough time for him to be ready, to have the entire playbook ready to go, to be able to understand the game plan, implement that? Maybe it is enough time. But I do think it's enough time by the time the Jacksonville game rolls around. Is that the way they go? Or is this going to be completely the Malik Willis show as the Titans come along here? I don't know what the answer is. I would probably lean towards starting Josh Dobbs in that last game, unless Malik Willis shows a lot of improvement this week against Dallas. I still think the likelihood is Malik Willis will be the starting quarterback on Thursday against Dallas, and then you can make your decision from there. But I'm really interested to see how the Titans handle that. And, David Beauclair brought it up in the last segment. Lots of frustration in that locker room right now. You could see it all over Kevin Byard's face in the post-game interview on Saturday. You could see it on guys like Jeffrey Simmons. How could you not be frustrated with the way that things have gone lately for the Titans on a 5-game losing streak? How can you rally yourself? This is a big test of the culture that we talk about all the time with Mike Vrabel. Can you rally yourself for that Jacksonville game and win a game? Win one game to send yourself to the playoffs, to win the third consecutive division. Right now, it's hard for me to get there based on what I've seen the last 5-6 weeks from this team, but all it takes is one game. We'll see if the Titans can rally themselves to that point. Coming up next, Joe Rexrode will be back on the program. We'll get his thoughts on the Tennessee Vols as they prepare to take on Clemson coming up on Friday in the Orange Bowl. Take your thoughts as well. 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025 on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
You watch the game. We talk the game.
The college football playoff rankings, Tennessee, the #1 team in the country.
We are the game. Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Time for the Preds Report.
Presented by New Nissan.
Max Hers from the Preds Radio Network here with your Preds Report for Tuesday, December 27th. Hope you all had a Merry Christmas. Predators come out of the Christmas break at home tonight against the Dallas Stars, hosting a division rival at Bridgestone Arena, and we hope to see you there. Puck drop is at 7 in downtown Smashville with pregame radio coverage starting at 6 o'clock on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. After that, you won't be seeing them here much. After tonight, just one of the Predators' next 8 games is at home, All the more reason to come out to the final home game of 2022 tonight at 7 against the Stars.
All the best car deals in Smashville start at Newton Nissan. Visit them at Newton Nissan of Gallatin or Newton Nissan South in Shelbyville.
This is Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
Give the gift of luxury this holiday season. Nothing is more elegant than a trip to the Omni Nashville Hotel. Gift cards from Bob's Steakhouse or Mocara Day Spa make wonderful gifts for any occasion, especially during the holidays. The foodie in your life will enjoy an evening of fine dining from the award-winning Bob's Steakhouse. Bob's Steakhouse specializes in serving big, flavorful steaks next to Texas-sized portions of delicious sides. The special person in your life will be comforted with the gift of relaxation and rejuvenation when they receive a gift card to Mocara Day Spa. Let the spoiling begin with a soothing facial, hot stone massage, body treatment, salon service, or mani-pedi. Bob's Steakhouse and Mocara Day Spa in the luxurious Omni Nashville Hotel. Purchase your gift cards today.
You look at yourself in the mirror every day and you can't deny it anymore. Your hair is not as thick as it used to be, and it's making you feel self-conscious. Hair Club is here to save the day. For 45 years, Hair Club has helped more than 500,000 clients love their hair and feel confident again. No matter what stage of hair loss, they can help. Hair Club can customize a solution just for you. For a limited time, get 10% off when you book a free consultation today at hairclub.com/chase.
Live from the Game Nashville studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
A gunny performance. Do your job.
And the Tigers regain the lead.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
These are battles, these are grinds. We don't panic, we don't freak out. That's how we're built. 1, 2, 3, 9.
This is the drive to the playoffs. Brought to you by Coleman Tractor on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game in the Game Nashville app.
Your Tennessee Titans are set to take on the Houston Texans tomorrow on Christmas Eve. And before the Titans take on the Texans, Shane Bowen addressed the media and talked about his team's energy levels and if they've changed here lately prior to their matchup here on Saturday. Here's what the defensive coordinator had to say.
Guys seem tired and defeated. Are you getting the same overall energy out of the group, or is that part of the issue?
Yeah, they've been good. The past 2 days, they've been good. I mean, anytime you lose a game like that, guys are going to be disappointed after. I mean, you guys heard the old cliche, the 24-hour rule. But you got to be able to turn the page. I mean, it's a long season. You're not going to win them all, unfortunately, and we got to be able to turn the page and focus on the Texans and what they're doing and forget about what happened last week.
That was Shane Bowen, and the Tennessee Titans are going to be taking on the Texans without the likes of their starting quarterback Ryan Tannehill, so you'll see pocket passer Malik Willis get the start with Joshua Dobbs backing him up. I'm Nick Keyser. This report is presented by Coleman Tractor.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive. This is Robby and Rexrode. With Robbie Stanley and Joe Rexrode on Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
Hour number 3, Robbie and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robbie Stanley alongside Joe Rexrode. Kenny Adams here with you on this Tuesday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. Joe Rexrode live from Florida in advance of Tennessee taking on Clemson in the Orange Bowl. Little Orange Bowl Media Day today, Joe Rexrode. Welcome back to the program. What did we learn today about the Tennessee Vols?
Yeah, so today is Tennessee defense, Clemson offense. Lot of conversation. I had a really good conversation with Tim Banks for a while there. They had them in breakouts, so they had their own little podiums, which is nice, rather than having some big press conference, which is so counterproductive. So I was very glad to see they did that. A lot of talk about for different things. This matchup, Klubnik for Clemson. Obviously, the Vols are looking at him. So you got to look at the freshman. As everybody saw, he replaced Uiagalelei in the championship game, and this is the way they're going. A lot of different topics of conversation. Maybe my favorite moment was Latrell Brumfus talking about the first day Joe Milton arrived on campus, and Latrell's like, "Oh, nice, we got another D lineman. Here we go." Like, actually, that dude's a quarterback. Lots of legend of Joe Milton. Many people talked. It wasn't Omari Thomas. Who the heck was I talking to? That was Tyler Barron talking about, watching Milton throw from like his own 10 to the pylon in practice on a play. His own 10, and he hit the pylon with a throw. So it's like, okay, that's
90 yards.
Right. So I really hope we see this. And hopefully in this game or, next year when Joe Milton is quarterback, I'm not kidding. Like, if you have the ball at your own 20 with 4 seconds left in the half, throw the Hail Mary. Like, do it. I guess, a coach might say, yeah, but the problem is if you get sacked there and you get a strip sack, it's an easy scoop and score or something like that. Okay, but that he can get it there. So why not utilize that? Like, it's a totally different, you may as well take advantage of the extreme advantages you have with him at quarterback. So hopefully we'll see that Friday night, a Hail Mary from your own 20.
Well, look, the Vols came out with a video the other day of him throwing an orange over 100 yards. So
I saw that.
Guy's got a cannon. There's no question about that.
I gotta say, I was a little disappointed because, like, I was watching the video and it's like, how far can Joe Milton throw an orange? And I'm like, so this is going to be like half a mile, right? 100 yards. Yeah, he can throw a football 100 yards. You tell me he can't throw an orange like 300 yards?
Well, get him like a baseball, something with a little bit more mass to it. Then we can really figure it out.
Yeah, that's true. Like, if you have, obviously down here they've got some big oranges. You need like, that looked like just an average size orange. If you get like one of those monsters, or even like a grapefruit. What about a grapefruit? That's probably at least 2 miles.
So, in all seriousness, looking ahead to this matchup on Friday against Clemson, I asked Caroline about this earlier, but I'm interested to get your thoughts on it. From a program standpoint, what sort of an opportunity is this game against this opponent, a team that's done a whole lot of winning over the past decade, for Tennessee as a whole coming up on Friday? What's that opportunity? And then for Joe Milton specifically, when it comes to not only obviously this game, but next year as the starter at quarterback for Tennessee, what's the opportunity for him in a game where, quite frankly, Joe, like I thought against Vanderbilt, he wasn't very good. I know they won the game 56-0. I thought he missed a lot of throws in that game. What's the opportunity for the program as a whole, and then for Joe Milton specifically in this game on Friday?
Yeah, well, I think I'd probably list him first in terms of like what's at stake for this game. I think it's not like the offseason isn't going to count. It's going to count a lot. And Joe Milton has a huge advantage. He has a big head start, and the guys on this team, there is no doubt, talking to a bunch of them, the leadership, like, there's a lot of respect and love for Joe Milton. And honestly, that was even go back to when he was at Michigan before he didn't play well. And he lost his job to Cade McNamara. He was a leader on that team too. So, he's a natural in that way, but you still have to perform in a game. So I do think that with Joe Milton, like, the inside the building view and the outside the building view, very different. And that happens sometimes. But the fan base view, I think, is like, maybe it's not as much, because this year he has, I think, demonstrated some things. I feel like you've seen some things as a Tennessee fan. It's like, okay, I can see it. But I agree. I don't think he played well. It's funny because talking to Alex Golish this week, and he was like, you guys have to understand. He's like it was so hard to throw a football that night. It was wet. It was awful. And he still managed the game really well and I was happy with how he played. Like, yeah, that's fair. He just missed some throws, and it goes back to those overthrows. If he misses a throw in any other way but an overthrow, then you're fine, right?
Well, that's the thing. Like, you can talk to me about how hard it is to throw the football. When you overthrow a guy by 15 yards, you're not having much difficulty throwing the football.
That's true. This is true. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Maybe, I guess, controlling it could be harder in that, but regardless, yes, it's big. It's a big deal for him. I think if he plays well and he can lead them into a win in this game, I think it's bigger outside kind of, because like I feel like the fan base would more embrace him being the starter. I mean, whatever fans always want the 5-star freshman to start, right? I mean, Harrison Bailey was the absolute greatest quarterback ever, and how could he not be playing right now? I mean, Jarrett Garantano, when he was still Garantano as a freshman, it was like, this guy's a fourth super dual threat. Come on, and then you actually watch someone play. I mean, the unknown is undefeated, but Joe Milton, I think, has a big chance here to vault himself to what I do believe he'll start the season as a starter. I mean, if you tell me he doesn't right now, I'm going to guess that he doesn't play well in this game, because I do think that at some point as a coach, you have to take into account practice is one thing, games are another thing. And also, it would also mean that Nico has an amazing offseason. But this is also a big game for Tennessee. I mean, how much does it matter to finish in the top 5? I mean, that used to be, I feel like everything feels less significant now because of the playoff. But you're talking about the biggest bowl game in decades.
Yep.
An opponent that's one of the top, it's still one of the top, 4 elite programs in college football over the past several years. This is one of the top shelf programs, and a program that has taken some players from you that would have made a big difference, and you're going to compete with them in recruiting in the future too.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's big from that standpoint, and obviously the Milton thing speaks for itself. But like, if you finish the season and you beat Alabama and Clemson in the same year, like, think about telling a Tennessee fan that 3 years ago, beating Alabama and Clemson in the same year. And I realize it's not the same Clemson. They're not as dominant as they have been, and I get all that. Still a pretty darn good defense they've got, even with some of the opt-outs that have taken place. And you're 11-2 if you win this game. And there's always going to be, I think, a little bit of the what if there. Like, what if you would have just won the game against South Carolina? What would that mean for Tennessee? I think you would have definitely been in the college football playoff at that point. But I mean, it is what it is at this point. 11-2. If you win the game, you're probably number 5 in the country. I mean, I think that's a big deal if you're Tennessee. So I'm really interested to see what happens, what their response is in this game. I mean, it's not going to have Jalen Hyatt. You're not going to have Cedric Tillman. So a big opportunity for the receivers. Brew McCoy will play, Squirrel White in this game. They'll have some guys that, are going to play big roles on this team next year, kind of get their firsthand look at it in elevated roles this time around. I'm interested to see what happens on that standpoint, but I think this is a big game. And I'm not saying if you lose the game that just like the momentum of this season is taken away or anything like that. At the end of the day, it's a bowl game and you'd be 10-3. But I think Tennessee fans are pretty invested into the outcome of this game. I sense a lot of excitement for this one coming up on Friday.
Yeah, and I guess I'm interested the other way, because sometimes you have the incentive difference from the teams, and sometimes that makes a difference. I mean, Clemson is used to, you mentioned Alabama and Clemson. This is the first playoff without either one of them, right? I mean, so we're used to both of them in it, certainly at least one of them in it. How much does this matter to Clemson? Probably, for fans, I suppose when you have a rough year, you could still be the Orange Bowl champs. You probably like that idea, but still, I mean, it's when you're used to the playoff, this is down year for fans. For these players, you have a new quarterback, and that's the thing too. I think this is obviously a quarterback game. Like, does Clemson have a quarterback development issue, or did they just misevaluate DJ Uiagalelei? And I've said his name perfectly twice in this segment. Thank you very much.
You have.
Yeah, I mean, this
nailed it.
Thank you. Yeah, that's big from that perspective. Like, do they have the next guy? Do they have the next guy who can actually lead them back to where they expect to be? Or is there something deeper there going on, at QB? I mean, that's what it's so much about for all these programs, moving forward. I mean, tell me what kind of quarterbacking Alabama's going to get next year. They're going to be loaded, but right? I mean, that's what it's about, right? So in both of these cases, this is a year ahead for Clemson. They got their freshman who some people think he's going to be a star. He's playing now, and maybe it'll be the same kind of thing next year. That Nico at some point takes over the job, but right now I think it's Joe's job.
615-737-1025. We'll take your thoughts on Tennessee and Clemson coming up on Friday in the Orange Bowl. How important is this game for Tennessee? What do you want to see from Joe Milton to make you comfortable with him being the starting quarterback in 2023? 615-737-1025. We'll get more into that coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 1025-1063, The Game.
The college football season never stops. ESPN college football analyst Trevor Manich joins Stillman and Company every Tuesday at 4:30.
They've got to do what Nick Saban in Alabama has done so successfully over the last 10 years.
Presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics on Nashville's best sports talk, 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Give the gift of luxury this holiday season. Nothing is more elegant than a trip to the Omni Nashville Hotel. Gift cards from Bob's Steakhouse or Mocara Day Spa make wonderful gifts for any occasion, especially during the holidays. The foodie in your life will enjoy an evening of fine dining from the award-winning Bob's Steakhouse. Bob's Steakhouse specializes in serving big, flavorful steaks next to Texas-sized portions of delicious sides. The special person in your life will be comforted with the gift of relaxation and rejuvenation when they receive a gift card to Mocara Day Spa. Let the spoiling begin with a soothing facial, hot stone massage, body treatment, salon service, or mani-pedi. Bob's Steakhouse and Mocara Day Spa in the luxurious Omni Nashville Hotel. Purchase your gift cards today.
Hey Nashville, TJ Anderson here. With real estate listings, you have to read between the lines, like trendy, so are man buns, or great potential, just like your ex. Must see inside, yeah, because it's a dump outside. My team at TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty is ready to help both home buyers and sellers decode the market. Oh, and if it says open floor plan, the doors are sold separately. Google TJ Anderson Homes, read our reviews, and see why we are referred for a reason. TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty, 615-432-2919.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Fansville, where the refs are always wrong and Dr. Pepper is always right. Always. Where the mountains are capped with cooler ice and children learn the 23 flavors of Dr. Pepper before they learn the alphabet.
Smart.
It's the one place where a man is a 6 unless he's wearing face paint.
He's a 10.
And where fans deserve a Dr. Pepper no matter if they win or lose.
But we're gonna win.
Get ready for anything to happen this college football season on Fansville by Dr. Pepper.
The one fans deserve.
Grab some today.
It's on. It's happening.
Remember, you can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter.
Get out of the way, I'm watching the game.
Presented by the law offices of Amanda Gentry.
We may now begin our day.
You're listening to Robby and Rexrode on 1025 and 1063 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 1025, 1063 The Game. We are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Kenny Adams here with you on this Tuesday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. Looking ahead to the Vols and Clemson coming up on Friday in the Orange Bowl. We'll get Joe's thoughts on the college football playoff matchups as well coming up here in just a few minutes. Joe, on the Joe Milton front, it's going to be, I just looked at the weather. There's like a 35% chance of rain. It's Florida, so you always have a chance of rain coming up in this game. On Friday, it's going to be about 75 degrees. So, I mean, it's going to be warm out there. Should be good conditions to throw the ball, move the ball for Tennessee. What do you need to see from Joe Milton on Saturday to feel good, or excuse me, on Friday to feel good about him heading into this offseason? And I'm not talking just a statistical number or anything like that, but what do you need to see from Joe Milton to convince you that you can feel pretty good about him being the starting quarterback next year?
Well, I mean, I think you need to see him, consistently make quick decisions and be consistently accurate. And obviously, every deep shot is going to be highly scrutinized, and hey,
I can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, every quarterback overthrows a deep ball here and there. It actually, maybe it would be key for him to just underthrow one. How amazing would that be?
Rubicoy have to run back to go get one. Just come back around.
Well, I mean, I'm trying to think, has Joe Milton and someone can, I don't remember. Has Joe Milton like thrown like a back shoulder deep ball at any point? You know, is that a thing? Do they?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, and the thing is, I bet you what this year he's probably thrown probably 3 or 4 at least, right? Perfect ones, right?
Yeah.
I mean, some of those games, like fantastic. So I think he's worked on it. He's figured out how to put more air under it, but it's still there's still just this in game, and like you just wanted to see him have command. To me, and this is something they talk about here too, coaches talk about, and we'll get Joey Halsley tomorrow, who, by the way, I fully expect to be named Tennessee's offensive coordinator. I wouldn't be surprised if they name it the next day. That would be my expectation. I mean, the fact that he's talking tomorrow, I don't know why they'd wait, but I fully expect him to be offensive coordinator. And if he wasn't offensive coordinator here, I think he would be Alex Golish's offensive coordinator right now at South Florida. But those guys talked about Joe Milton as a runner has actually been a big change since he's gotten here. He's a much better runner. And so and that's an important thing. I mean, there's a huge thing with Hendon Hooker. They're different kinds of runners. Hendon Hooker is much quicker and more elusive, in terms of eluding a pass rusher and, shiftiness and stuff like that. But Joe Milton can be a very effective runner too, and that's got to be a part of. I mean, if he's gonna be a really good player next year, and they're gonna have a chance to win those big games, that's got to be a part of it. So I'd say the whole game on display is what you want to see from him, and you want to see obviously good connection with. He's gonna be throwing to Brew McCoy next year. He's gonna be throwing to Squirrel White next year. And we'll see who else. I mean, look, Ramel Keaton too. Ramel Keaton is gonna be back next year.
Yeah.
I mean, Ramel Keaton was good this year when he had a chance. I mean, people dismiss him because he's kind of like the older and he's not as explosive as some of these guys. He's still pretty good.
He's going to be the start. He will start next year.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, it's probably McCoy, Keaton, and White next year, right? And the thing is, as we know, as we've talked about, Josh Heupel likes to have 3. And they have depth, and obviously depth was important this year because Keaton came in and White has made some plays. But if they stay healthy, they'll probably get like a vast majority of the snaps this year. Now, I do think that there are people like Chaz Nimrod is a guy who there's a lot of excitement about him. So, is it possible like a Keaton could be overcome at some point? Possibly. You gonna have some fun with that thing too, Robby? Yeah.
Never wanted a player to be better in my life than I do Chaz Nimrod. I need him to win the Biletnikoff.
Nimrod and Squirrel
out
there together. How are you going to contend with that SEC defenses?
Let's go to our 1025 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Nate. Nate, thanks for calling in.
Morning, guys. I mean, really, Joe hit it. I think everybody, most of the Tennessee fans are going to say they need to see Joe Milton be accurate. And if it's not at least improved, the first interception he throws in the 2023 football season, they're going to be calling for Nico.
Thanks for the call. Well, look, that's the thing. Like, you can play as well as you want to play if you're Joe Milton on Friday, and I think it's important that he does. But I will say, like, if he starts the season off next year and he's struggling a little bit, even if they're winning games and he's struggling a little bit, I mean, you talked about it, Joe. The 5-star quarterback, the unknown, is undefeated. There will be Tennessee fans calling for Nico at some point next year. I have no doubt.
Yeah, and look, I mean, obviously that's just how it goes. Again, I mean, Harrison Bailey was going to be the greatest quarterback ever. And then we're like, well, why is Harrison Bailey third on the depth chart? I mean, like when, like last year, it was like, well, why would Hendon Hooker be the choice? We know he's whatever, Virginia Tech. Well, coaches kind of have more information, but beyond fans with Nico, it's just an interesting test of, I think most quarterbacks who come in like that are realistic, and most do get that year. Ideally, you get that year and you don't get thrust right into it. But it'll be interesting too, and it's obviously with the NIL thing and everything. I feel like, like if Nico, like if you told Nico and his family, like, Joe Milton this year, and then you'll of course, if you're a quarterback of this level, you expect in 3 years to be ready. Like you expect to be a 2026, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
2020. You expect to be a 2026 top 10 pick, and I have no idea if he's that good. Who knows? DJ Uiagalelei was supposed to be the number 1 overall pick when he went to Clemson. And so we see him now, and it's like, will he take a snap in the NFL? I don't know about that. So who knows? But if you told Nico and his family, basically this year you can learn Joe Milton's a quarterback, and then the next 2 years you're the starter and you can be a superstar and all that stuff, I think they'd probably take that, right? But who knows, man? Look, people like to play early too. And there are people who think he's the best quarterback in the class. If you're the best quarterback in the class, then you should be a top 10 type pick after 3 years. I mean, I have seen some video of Nico throwing the ball in practice. Looks pretty good.
Looks good.
It looks pretty good.
Let's go back to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Adam from Portland. Adam, thanks for calling in.
I want to call him Geno Milton because that's what he ultimately wants to be. He wants to be Geno Smith at the college level. Like, we've already seen him suck, but we know he has potential. So let's see him in the bowl game be Geno Smith. That would be cool. I'm just really disappointed in this football season as a whole, man. And it's not necessarily like exactly what's happened. It's where we are right now. The Titans have a chance to do something in the postseason, and we're sitting here probably fixing to watch a preseason game. The Vols were amazing this year. We're not watching any of the stars. Like, it just – I don't know. It feels like we're in August. It sucks. Like, I want to start over and go through the fun parts again, man. I feel like we're at a very depleted part for both teams.
Well, I think Friday could be fun, Adam. Just hang in there.
Could it?
I think it could be fun.
Could it? I don't know, man. Like, I'm feeling like, I guess it's like my daughter comes to me Monday morning and she starts telling me she just feels sad. I'm like, yeah, it's the post-Christmas blues. Everybody has it. Maybe this is like post-football blues. Like, I'm already feeling it before it's even over.
Thanks for the call, Adam. Look, I can't really help it much, Joe, with the Titans part of it. Like, I don't know where the help comes from with the Titans. I think it's got a chance to be a good game coming up on Friday. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Again, this is a big part of why I was for the expanded playoff, because it's just so weird how you go from BCS to 4, and I swear that like games like this instantly meant so much less. At least that's how it feels to me. Even going back, someone of my age who, let's say this was just the old days and it was, Tennessee, Clemson, and the Orange Bowl. I guess that wouldn't have happened because you'd have to have the Big 8, involved in it. But a huge bowl game, and you have a chance to finish in the top 5 in the rankings. You don't have a chance to be voted number 1, but it's huge. Like these games are huge. Like everybody was watching the orange and the rose and the fiesta and the cotton and the sugar, and it's just like, are you in the playoff or are you out of the playoff? But I'm with you. Like, I think this is an exciting game. I mean, again, top 5 is the major achievement if this team can get it. 11 wins is a major achievement if this team can get it. And again, I think the extra bonus is you're getting a real look against a defense with some future pros on it, even with the opt-outs, like you said, Robby. They got some good players. On the defense, you're going to see potentially your quarterback for next year, and it's going to be hard for him to match what Hendon Hooker did. But Hendon Hooker said last year, going into the year, he said Joe Milton's going to be the best college football player in the country in 2023. So I'm just saying.
Meltdown? Is that what we're going with? Meltdown for Milton?
It may be. Maybe it's right. You can. I'm trying to think. May have to stink for May. Will stink for Williams? I don't remember. What did we talk about?
Will have to stink for Williams. Yeah.
May have to stink for May, and then meltdown for Milton. Yeah. Top 3 quarterbacks right there. 1, 2, 3.
Coming up next, we'll get Joe's thoughts on the college football playoff semifinals coming up this weekend. Also take a look at some NFL headlines around the league, including a coach that has been fired that Joe Rexrode may get credit for a called shot for. We'll get to that coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
figure out the 48 guys that we got for Thursday night.
It's a short week for the two-tone blue.
The margin for error is very thin.
Titans on 3, 1, 2, 3. As the Titans take on the Cowboys on Thursday Night Football at Nissan Stadium. Join Jared Stillman.
The Titans right now aren't blocking very well.
Chris Sanders.
Where's the explosive plays that we need?
They got a lot of digging down deep to do in this game.
And Derek Mason from Sonny's in Germantown for NFL pregame at 4:30 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Winning this award is truly like winning the Super Bowl of car dealer awards for Mercedes-Benz.
Edwin Vickery, General Manager of Mercedes-Benz of Music City.
Culture eats strategy for lunch. You have to hit on all cylinders to win this award. You can strategize all you want. You got to still have the right tools, and our tools are our people.
Live the dream with 3-time Mercedes-Benz Best of the Best award winner, Mercedes-Benz of Music City. Go to mbofmc.com.
It's Family Leisure's half off after Christmas sale going on now.
Up to half off on floor models, scratch and dent, and discounted merchandise.
Enjoy the movie theater experience in the safety and comfort of your own home with theater seating from Family Leisure. 2-piece sets starting at only $6.99. 3-piece sets are only $9.99. Massage chairs are only $9.99 as well.
Family Leisure has air hockey and foosball tables in stock and on sale starting at just $1.99.
Family Leisure has 30 pool tables on display. Hundreds in stock for immediate delivery. Pool tables start at $7.99. Slate pool tables starting at just $14.99 installed.
Shovelboard tables from only $19.99.
Family Leisure is introducing our above ground pool sales now. 24-foot above ground pools start at only $29.99 installed.
That's Family Leisure's up to half off after Christmas sale going on now.
At both huge locations, Antioch and Franklin.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. So you ordered a new air filter for your car. You try to install it, but it doesn't fit. So you take a little bit off the sides. Well, it still doesn't fit? Well, you could try to sit on it. Or just go to eBay Motors and get it right the first time. With over 122 million parts, they have the parts that fit your vehicle. Air filters, tires, headlights, brakes, and more. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors, let's ride.
The sports talk doesn't end on Friday. Join Michelle Knezovic and Junie Riddle for Michelle and Junie.
Have they truly been tested yet?
I really want this to be a good game.
Michelle and Junie, every Saturday morning at 9. Presented by Superbook Sports and the Nashville Jam Company.
I think Junie and I are going to go hit breakfast/brunch there after the show.
On 102.5 and 106.3, The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, Nashville, this is Dan Lebitard. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5, The Game.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Kenny Adams here with you on this Tuesday morning. We'll have Preds Pick the Clip coming up here in just a few minutes, so looking forward to that. Right now, taking your thoughts on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Joe, the college football playoff underway this weekend. Georgia and Ohio State, TCU taking on Michigan in the semifinals. What do you make of these two games, and do you think these two will actually be close games coming up this weekend in the semifinal round of the college football playoff?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm rooting for. You know, I'm rooting for two good games. I feel like if Georgia plays its best, look, I mean, you could look at that game and make the case for a top 5 quarterback and a receiver who, I mean, he could be, he won't be the number 1 pick because it'll be a QB in 2024, I'm sure, right? But like, he's a top 5 receiver pick a year later, who might sit out next year, and other really good talent. Henderson, are they getting him back at running back? That's a big deal for Ohio State. Like, you can make, Ohio State's loaded, so you could make a case for Ohio State showing up and playing its absolute A game. And I think if Ohio State does that, plays its absolute A game, then I think we can have a game there. But I also feel like Georgia is clearly the best team and has been that team that when the big game, when it's like, let's see your best, they've been able to produce it. So it's like if they both have their A game, I think Georgia wins by, 10 points, 14 points, something like that. And obviously, if Ohio State doesn't come with its best, it could be ugly. Michigan TCU is a harder game for me to project. I think most people expect a Michigan rout, and I certainly could see that happening. But TCU has been so beyond expectations consistently all year. They do have a special kind of, thing going about it. Of course, then they lose the last game, so then you lose a little bit of that pixie dust. But I don't know. I mean, Michigan runs the football so well, is so physical, has such a good offensive line. Can TCU hold up against that and put them in obvious passing downs? Like, obviously McCarthy was great against Ohio State, hit those deep shots. But, they still haven't had to lean on him a ton this year for the most part. And in some instances, he hasn't played all that well. I mean, they've just dominated people with their defense and run game. Can TCU make it obvious passing? I mean, that's one thing Michigan doesn't have, like, overwhelming receivers. They have good receivers. They don't have like guys like Ohio State has. I just can TCU's defense stop the run. Michigan doesn't have Blake Corum, but Donovan Edwards is a special player too. And again, the offensive line, I think it's 2 years in a row they've won the Joe Moore Award for top offensive line, and that's a huge part of what Harbaugh has done to finally get this program to the promise of when he was hired, is they play bully ball about as well as anybody right now.
Called shot Tuesday. TCU with the upset. TCU wins against Michigan outright.
Wow.
Hey,
I'm calling it. I feel Max Duggan with it coming on. I know Kenny hates me now.
Come on, dude.
Because Kenny's a big Michigan fan.
Dude, we were friends 5 seconds ago, bro.
We were doing so well, and then I just totally ruined it. Called shot, Joe. TCU takes down Michigan.
That is a shot. Well, again, like, I can see a path for TCU making this a game, and Duggan is great, man. And I mean, look, they're tough to defend, so I do think that they can score some points in this game. I mean, Michigan has a good defense. They're not, they're not overwhelmingly talented. They're good, but that is a shot. TCU actually winning the game, that is a shot. It'd be an amazing story. I also think like all the TV people would be just miserable if that were to happen, right? Like,
oh yeah,
like
I'd be happy
because Michigan Georgia rematch from last year is attractive after what Georgia did to Michigan, and obviously Michigan Ohio State would be wild. Rematch in the national title game. TCU anyone in the national title game is like wah, wah. But it'd be an amazing story.
It would be. Joe, some Kenny's not having it. Joe, some NFL headlines. Nathaniel Hackett fired yesterday by the Denver Broncos. So he makes it less than a full year into his first season as head coach of the Denver Broncos. They got absolutely destroyed the other night on Christmas night by the LA Rams. It was unbelievable to watch what happened in that game. And that was apparently the final straw for the Broncos ownership. Nathaniel Hackett, less than one and done with the Broncos. And you kind of called the shot, basically after his first game that he probably should be fired. And now the Broncos have followed suit.
Yeah, they fired him way too late, man. You gave him way too much time as a head coach. That first game, if you would have taken my advice after the first game, you would have by now you'd know exactly what direction you're going. Now you have to scramble and get in the mix with everybody else. Now it's amazing that we're talking about 2 in-season debut season firings back-to-back seasons. I mean, it doesn't happen really hardly all, right, in the NFL. And we got 2 straight years of that for different reasons. I mean, Urban Meyer was such a disaster off the field and with all the distractions. Hackett has just been, again, like, I'm not kidding. Like that, what he did with the clock in that first game, I was like, that guy can't be in charge. Like that guy can't be in charge of a football team. Like you can't seriously do what he did there. And it's just gotten worse and worse. I mean, I feel like this firing is also an acknowledgement that he was only hired to get Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, kind of
feels
that way. Yeah.
if they actually believed in him fully when they hired him, they're crappy, they're bad, and Russ is bad, and so you could easily make excuses for him and God, give the guy a couple years, But this basically to me signals one, ownership issues in Denver. Okay.
Yeah.
And that basically they just were hoping this would be the Aaron Rodgers pixie dust. And by the way, now your guy might be in the playoffs. How about that?
Yeah, we'll see what happens on that front. Look forward to Nathaniel Hackett's return to Green Bay as like the assistant quarterbacks coach. Looking forward to that one coming up. I will say, Orlovsky said this yesterday on ESPN, and I think the more I think about it, I agree with him. He called it the least attractive job in the NFL right now, the Denver Broncos. Just given the fact that Russell Wilson, you're stuck with him. The contract is what it is. I mean, look, you can blame a lot of this on Nathaniel Hackett. I agree with you. I think it was pretty clear that he wasn't ready to be an NFL head coach. To me, a lot of this is on Russell Wilson being absolutely terrible too. And I maybe the coaching change, whoever the next hire is, helps that. And Russell Wilson looks more like he's looked over the course of his career. But man, does he look bad. And I can't believe that that's been all coaching, that Russell Wilson looks as bad as he looks.
Yeah, it's a really interesting case study in like coaching and how much it matters for a player. Because I agree, he looks terrible. He's had injuries and he's getting older, but I mean, he shouldn't have lost his fastball this much as a player, right?
I wouldn't think so.
But yeah, it's going to be really interesting because this next hire is all about, like you said, you're stuck with him. So who can get the most out of him? 2 years ago, through half of that season at least, and probably a little more, he was the MVP of the NFL.
Yeah.
In the 2020 season, he was, and it faded, and he got hurt. And again, that's been part of the thing, is that he's had various injuries, but he was like the best player in the NFL. That was 2 years ago. And now he looks like a bottom 10 starter in the league. But again, yeah, how much? Because the thing is, I definitely hear that on worst job, but there are some pieces there, and that's where it's like you said, like to go out and just get destroyed the way they did in this game by a bad football team, tells you that's a team that actually has just packed it in. So I agree, like it looks like a rough job, but also I think some coaches might look at it and say, okay, I actually like with Sean Payton, I don't think he's going to take. I think Sean Payton would rather Brandon Staley be fired, and who knows? Brandon Staley had Dean Spanos. Oh, come on, Dean, let's sing to the team. You're not going to fire me. I got us in the playoffs. I mean, that's like, I think everybody thinks Sean Payton wants that job, but would Sean Payton look at this job and say, you know what? I think Sean Payton's ego does not seem small. You know, if I go in there and fix Russ, you know, what is that? What kind of opportunity is that? They do have some other good pieces. Yeah.
He's the betting favorite to land the job. And that doesn't mean anything, but he's the betting favorite.
If they get him, then good for them. I mean, that if they get him and it doesn't look good, then you know it's Russ.
Joe, the other piece of news yesterday in the NFL quickly that I want to get your thoughts on. The Dolphins announcing that Tua Tagovailoa is back in the NFL concussion protocol, and he was put in the protocol yesterday. So that means he played the entirety of the game on Sunday against Green Bay and was put in the protocol yesterday. Now, obviously, Tua has had some concussion issues so far this year, and the Dolphins staff/training staff has come under a lot of fire for how they handled the Tua Tagovailoa situation earlier this year. And here we are yet again. He's back in concussion protocol and was informed on Monday, apparently informed the team that he was feeling some symptoms about the concussion. So another situation, number one, with his health, what's this going to mean long term? But number two, apparently the Dolphins either not recognizing or the NFL not recognizing what was going on at the time, and he played the whole game.
Yeah, and I've seen the play that I guess people think might have done it, which is he kind of got thrown to the ground. I mean, look, that's supposed to be NFL spotters, all right? I guess you could look at that play and say, why didn't a spotter signal that? But if he popped right up, goes to the sideline, and he's just playing the game, like, I don't mean to make excuses for people, but I think that everybody's alert is real up, especially with him. And if he gave no indication during the game, and that play, if anybody's seen the replay, like, yeah, you got thrown to the ground, but it happens all the time to quarterbacks. Is it different for him? Yeah, I mean, I think like a spotter maybe should be just more sensitive with him in particular, I guess. But so I don't know. Like it'll be interesting. You want to hear more information on how it all worked out. But like the bigger picture with him is like, man, how much do you worry about him being able to keep going in this league? You get enough of these, and you just are just possibly just more prone to getting concussed. It's too bad because obviously it's been this amazing season for him and them, although that's fading now. But it's too bad if this. You have to think that his long-term viability in this league is in jeopardy right now.
Yep, no question about it. 615-737-1025. Coming up next, it's time for Preds Pick to Click here on Robby and Rexrode. Be the first caller at 615-737-1025. If you guess the goal scorer for the Predators tonight, you win a pair of tickets to a future Nashville Predators home game. We'll do that next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 1025-1063, The Game.
At some point, it's a combination of who did you play and what does your skill set look like.
Get the best analysis of the big stories in the sports world with ESPN's Jason Fitz.
If you reach for a quarterback in the draft because you need one, you're going to set your franchise back 5 years.
Join Fitzy every Wednesday at 4:30. Presented by Blood Assurance. Jason Fitz.
I am 5'9.5"
on ESPN
1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 meteorologist Greg Bobus. Cool to start the morning, but the afternoon right up near the 30-degree mark. However, we have to deal with a little bit of snow early in the day that tapers off late afternoon into this evening, and then we'll stay calm for the rest of the upcoming week.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Give the gift of luxury this holiday season. Nothing is more elegant than a trip to the Omni Nashville Hotel. Gift cards from Bob's Steakhouse or Mocara Day Spa make wonderful gifts for any occasion, especially during the holidays. The foodie in your life will enjoy an evening of fine dining from the award-winning Bob's Steakhouse. Bob's Steakhouse specializes in serving big, flavorful steaks next to Texas-sized portions of delicious sides. The special person in your life will be comforted with the gift of relaxation and rejuvenation when they receive a gift card to Mocara Day Spa. Let the spoiling begin with a soothing facial, hot stone massage, body treatment, salon service, or mani-pedi. Bob's Steakhouse and Mocara Day Spa in the luxurious Omni Nashville Hotel. Purchase your gift cards today.
Coration CBD products. Coration began as our family's mission to provide the Nashville community with locally and organically sourced CBD products. We are passionate about providing high-quality CBD products for everyday use. Tinctures, topicals, and pet products too. We are a Pick 10 company. Our hemp is organically grown and produced in Nashville, Tennessee from sustainably sourced non-GMO genetics. All of our products are lab tested. Find all of our products at CorationCompany.com.
Jared Stillman.
This is a team that the entire city is losing their minds over.
Caroline Fenton.
It's one of the youngest teams in the league. They don't have a single player over the age of 30.
Stillman and Company. Afternoons from 2 to 6.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
On Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
1025 and 1063 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode on 1025 and 1063 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 1025, 1063 The Game. Robbie Stanley alongside Joe Rexrode, Kenny Adams here with you on this Tuesday morning. It's that time of the day, time for Preds Pick to Click, presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty and Superbook Sports. The Predators taking on the Dallas Stars tonight. So looking forward to that contest tonight. Big game for the Predators. Really need to get this one tonight. As Max Hers said a little bit earlier on one of the promo reads here on the show, lots of road games coming up for the final home game of 2022 tonight for the Nashville Predators. And the standings in Preds Pick to Click are as follows. And Joe, some development in the standings after the last time out. The listeners and myself tied atop the leaderboard at 7 correct answers apiece. I'm on a heater in this competition right now. Joe Rexrode with 6 correct answers and Michelle Knezovic with 5 correct answers. So some changing of the guard taking place. Joe Rexrode, your response?
Very disappointing. And I guess I'm just never going to pick Philip Forsberg again.
I guess not. With that in mind, let's go to our 1025 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Terry from Murfreesboro. Terry, thanks for calling in. Who is your pick to click tonight for the Nashville Predators?
I'm going to go with Yakov Trenin.
Yakov Trenin, the selection from Terry. Terry, appreciate you calling in.
Thank you.
So Terry going with Yakov Trenin tonight, Joe Rexrode.
Deep cuts.
Deep cuts. I like it. Hey, got to get a little creative sometimes when things aren't going your way. I'm up next in the competition. Do I stay with Matt Duchene? He's on a heater. I think I'm staying with Matt Duchene. I'll go Matt Duchene tonight for the Preds in their pick to click. I think he scored 4 games in a row. So I'll ride it out with Matt Duchene here while he's on the hot streak. Trenin, Duchene off the board. Joe Rexrode, you're up next in the competition.
When I just said I'm not going to take Philip Forsberg, and now I might take Philip Forsberg. Man, I don't know. Like when's the last time Forsberg scored a goal?
It's been a minute. Well, the Winnipeg game he scored.
He scored in the Winnipeg game. That's right. Yep. It's not like it's because, obviously Forsberg, very streaky. It has heaters, and he has colders too. But he did score not that long ago. All right. I'll go Forsberg.
You're going Forsberg. That was a very gut-wrenching decision that Rexrode had to come to there.
That was hard.
Michelle Knezovic is up next, and she has texted in her pick. And I think this is a good one, and I considered it strongly because he's playing very well. Cody Glass, the selection from Michelle Knezovic. Cody Glass playing really well lately. Had another great assist the other night for the Predators, so I like the way that he's playing. So Cody Glass, Michelle Knezovic's pick to click in the competition. The pick to click results: Yakov Trenin from Terry from Murfreesboro calling in, Matt Duchene, my selection, Philip Forsberg, Joe's selection, and Michelle going with Cody Glass today in the competition. Preds taking on the Stars tonight. I have to say that's probably the first time that Yakov Trenin has been the number 1 overall pick this year.
Yeah, right? I would think so.
It.
Well, we've had some interesting ones. We've had Colton Sissons picked by the I know for sure by the the caller. But yeah, I don't think Trenin's ever had the honor. He's been picked before, but he's been picked by the caller before.
Yeah, that's why you leave things spiced up in this competition. Preds pick to click presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty and Superbook Sports. So Joe, you said it. You beat last week Edmonton, and then you took down Chicago, and you were pretty consistent on this last week. You needed to win one of the next 2, be that against Colorado or be that against the Dallas Stars. Taking on the Stars tonight, you had Colorado kind of right where you wanted them the other night. You were up 2-0, and really from the second goal the Predators scored on Friday night for the remainder of that game, Colorado pretty much dominated from that standpoint. You got it to overtime, and then you lost the game in overtime. So at least you got a point out of it, but need to come away with a win tonight, I think, against the Stars. You're looking at the standings right now. You're at 33 points. I mean, you're still 6 points out of the closest playoff spot right now. Now, granted, Calgary occupies that last spot, and they played 3 more games than the Predators had to this point. So the games in hand is a factor for the Predators here, but you need to come away with 2 points tonight at home against a very good Dallas Stars team.
Yeah, and obviously that right away they kind of gave us a glimpse of what both teams were going to be when they played at the beginning of the year, right? And this would be a big win. They've been one of the most impressive teams this year, surprisingly impressive teams. And you got to get some of these. You got to get some of these against your division rivals, a team that's playing really well. The mulligans are slim right now for the Preds. So if you're going to make any kind of move, these are the games you win.
These are the games you win. And the Colorado game the other day, Joe, I mean, I thought they started really well. Johansson gets the goal. Duchene gets the goal. By the way, Johansson gets the power play goal. So results-wise, the power play starting to come along a little bit. I know there was really nowhere to go but up from where they were a couple of weeks ago into last week, but they have started to generate a little bit of momentum on the power play. Still a lot of work to do, but you get the goal, and then you just basically got into a track meet after that. I mean, I know the game went to overtime, but the final shots were Colorado had 46 shots and the Predators had 39. So it was kind of like fire wagon open hockey out there. And I don't know that that's the best strategy for the Predators.
No, I mean, it's the entertainment value is high. So
I enjoyed it.
I approve of it. Yeah. But probably not exactly how they want it to go. It's tough to play as well as they did, and then not get the 2 for a lot of that game and not get the 2 points. But there are some signs. And even obviously when they were they played better a little bit 5-on-5, power play not coming along. Now, if that's actually showing signs of life, you can make a case for why this team could start, going in the right direction here. But you're still got that situation of you got to beat the better teams. You got to get more wins against the better teams. You are getting the wins against most of the teams you should beat, but you got to start beating some of these better teams.
Well, the one thing that I will say that was a concern earlier this year, and both the traditional numbers and the analytical numbers are starting to get back to what you expected. Like UC Saros has figured it out. Whatever struggle that he was going through at the first part of the year, he's fine. He's figured it out now. He looks like vintage Saros really over the course of the last 2-3 weeks. But I mean, the numbers on him lately have been very, very good. Yeah,
it's almost like, I don't know, with him, it's like just load up on your backup in the first month of the season. I mean, no one's ever going to do that. It's like my plan of Derrick Henry of like, just don't give him any first quarter carries, just wait until, and then give him all the carries in the second half. No one's ever actually going to do it, but it's, and I know this year's different because he was coming off the injury. I think that's probably part of it.
Yeah.
A little bit of adjustment from there and everything, but yeah, he looks terrific. So you have Saros, you have your overall play, maybe the lineups, solidifying a little bit, getting a little healthier. Power play actually looks like there's a little bit of a clue. That's a lot of things that are going in a preferred direction right now. Got to translate into the wins.
This is always one of my favorite hockey days of the year because some wacky stuff happens today. I mean, they played Friday, and then you have basically the roster freeze, the pause from Saturday until basically this morning. So nobody's played the last 3 days, haven't even been on the ice practicing. I'm really interested to see what this looks like. Probably going to be a longer morning skate this morning, get things ready to go. But typically watching like the league over the past few years since this roster freeze has been in there, these games coming out of the break can be a doozy. Can be a little weird out there.
Yeah, little wacky. So
Yeah.
maybe Cody Glass power play.
Maybe so.
Called shot.
I respect it. Preds taking on the Stars tonight at Bridgestone Arena. Puck drop will be at 7 o'clock in that game. Pregame at 6 o'clock here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Coming up next, we'll get back into the Tennessee Titans, back into the Malik Willis discussion as well. Had a lot of good thoughts on that in the 7 o'clock hour. We'll take more of your thoughts right now at 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
The sports talk doesn't end on Friday. Join Michelle Knezovic and Junie Riddle for Michelle and Junie.
Have they truly been tested yet?
I really want this to be a good game.
Michelle and Junie, every Saturday morning at 9. Presented by Superbook Sports and the Nashville Jam Company.
I think Junie and I are going to go hit breakfast/brunch there after the show.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Preds fans, Superbook wants to send one lucky fan a pair of tickets on the ice. Text the keyword Superbook, all one word, to 615-737-1025 for entry to win.
College football season is here. Finally, it's me, Caroline Fenton, and you already know that I am pumped up for college football season. And Southeastern Carolines, you know that 312 Pizza Company is my favorite place in town. 312 Pizza Company is a family-owned restaurant located in the heart of Germantown, serving up authentic Chicago-style eats right here in Music City. You can catch every down of the college football season at 312 Pizza Company. From week 1 of the national championship, 312 Pizza Company is your home for college football season.
Hey, it's Chase McCabe, and every season is screwball season in my house. No matter the time of year, that rich, smooth taste just hits the spot. Y'all know Screwball. It's made with real whiskey, peanuts, and peanut butter, and it's just flat out delicious. It's my favorite. However you take it, as a shot, in an espresso martini, or a peanut butter old-fashioned, make it a Screwball peanut butter whiskey. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2022 Screwball Spirits, LLC, San Diego, California. Whiskey with natural flavors, 35% alcohol by volume.
Peacock presents the new original limited series, The Best Man, The Final Chapters, from the creator of The Best Man and The Best Man Holiday, and executive producer of Insecure. The series reunites the original cast to wrap up all the unfinished business, with new loves, career highs, parenthood, grief, and everything in between. The series explores what threatens to tear us down and what ultimately keeps us together. The Best Man, The Final Chapters, streaming now, only on Peacock.
Hal Gill here for my friends at Dunkin'. Everyone celebrates the holidays in their own special way, but you go twice as hard as everyone else. So does Dunkin', which is why they've created 2 espresso-rich holiday signature lattes. The minty, cocoa-dusted peppermint mocha and creamy cinnamon sugary toasted white chocolate lattes are handcrafted with bold espresso and topped with whipped cream to help you do the most this year. So swing by the newly remodeled Dunkin' on Bradley Parkway in Nashville or the new Dunkin' in Mount Juliet and grab one today on the double.
Want to kick off the new year without any credit card debt? If that sounds good to you, you can do it with Loan Pronto's Express Equity line of credit. Wipe out all those credit card bills right now. Hey, Willie Donick here. Rates are down, and it's a great move to get on more solid financial footing for the new year. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a portion of the equity you have and enjoy a rate that's a whole lot less than what the banks charge on credit cards. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity credit line, you can close in 7 to 10 days. You can access up to 95% of your home's equity. Use that money to pay off those high-interest credit card loans of any type. Credit cards, personal loans, car loans, whatever. Consolidate everything into one easy payment. Even if you did a whole total refi last year, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program and keep your main loan intact. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Live from the Game Nashville studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Robby and Rexrode, Chase, Willie, and D-Mace.
Still in company. Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3.
Ranks and he scores! On both sides of the one big possession.
Touchdown, Middle Tennessee.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive. This is Robby and Rexrode. With Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
Welcome back in. Final hour. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley alongside Joe Rexrode. Kenny Adams here with you on this Tuesday morning. Taking your thoughts on the Titans, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. And Joe, it was ugly on Saturday, especially offensively. They lose 19-14 to the Houston Texans. Just the second win of the season for Houston. Davis Mills comes in here slinging that ball around, and the Texans walk away victorious at Nissan Stadium on Saturday. Malik Willis, 14 of 23, 99 yards, 2 interceptions in the game. And Joe, both in that game Saturday and as you try to project forward here for the Titans with a quick turnaround as they play on Thursday Night Football against Dallas this week, just throwing the question out there, what do we think the Titans have in Malik Willis, both now in the short term and potentially what he could grow to be in the long term as well? And we've gotten a lot of different thoughts on that today on the text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. For the short-term part of this discussion, I watched the game Saturday, and it's clear to me, Joe, they're really limited in what they can do in the passing game. And Malik Willis is not the only reason for that. The offensive line is struggling to pass block. The receivers are struggling to get open. You know, Traylon Burks was back in there, and even he got targeted twice on Saturday in that game. So there's not much happening really in the passing game at all, no matter who's quarterbacking right now. But it's magnified when Malik Willis is in there, and you could just tell they were severely limited in what they can do. And, he made some decisions that I'm sure he'd like back on Saturday.
Yeah, the first pick, obviously he throws a pick in the last play of the game, but the first pick was bad, and they're still in the game, and I think was that to Burks? That was to Burks, right?
I think so. Yep.
It was just a quick slant, and linebacker drops into that spot, and it's like you can't miss that one. You can't screw that one up. And he didn't really elaborate. He was asked about it and said, "Yeah, it was an interception." Thank you. It was a very discouraging performance. I mean, I think we've been pretty realistic and accurate about him all year. He shouldn't be playing. They didn't want him to play. Him playing was not going to be good. I mean, even well into the season, I've seen a stray person here and there say, "Oh, he should be the QB over Tannehill." I mean, there are galaxies between Tannehill and Willis right now at quarterback. I don't know what Willis is going to be. I guess I kind of have taken the approach of like whatever this year looks like. I can't put too much into it because I just I've seen enough QBs in this league who were rough early who got a lot better to think it's possible. But I will say that that was a disappointing at that point with the work he'd gotten before and just the fact that he's been forced into action. It was disappointing to see him play that way in that game. In the short term, I don't think you have much chance of winning at Jacksonville with Malik Willis at quarterback. I mean, you're going to have like this incredibly monster defense winning the game for you kind of game. I see Mike from Shelbyville going off on you about being clouded about Josh Dobbs because he's a UT guy, but I mean, I haven't heard you say Josh Dobbs is the answer, the savior, but he might be a better answer than Malik Willis by then, right?
I don't think it's that much of a stretch. Like go look at what they did on Saturday offensively. You don't think Josh Dobbs could do that? I mean, if he can't, then quite frankly, I don't know what you brought him in for. I mean, I don't know what the Titans are going to do. I don't know if Malik Willis is going to start against Jacksonville or if they're going to go with Josh Dobbs. What I'm saying is, if you're a Mike Vrabel and Todd Downing and that offensive staff, you at least got to be throwing this around the room right now of, all right, we know that this game is going to be for the division. We know that it's going to come down to the Jacksonville game. What gives us the best chance to win? Is it Malik Willis, who has been here all year, who has some raw ability that is really impressive? And we talked about that earlier in the show. He makes some throws every now and then where you're like, man, that's a heck of a throw from Malik Willis, and the talent is evident. But he also shouldn't be playing right now. I mean, I don't know how you could watch him play right now and think that he's anywhere close to being ready to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. I'm not saying that Josh Dobbs is a starting caliber quarterback in the NFL, because he's not. But does Josh Dobbs give you a better chance to win one game against Jacksonville right now than Malik Willis does? I think you can make a pretty good argument that he does.
Yeah, and it's an interesting dynamic there too. Ultimately what matters is who can get in there, call the protection, see the coverage, make the right checks, know the offense, and deliver the ball quickly and accurately. That's what matters. But there is a leadership element to this too. And I think it's when you bring a guy just came in and all of a sudden we might be talking 2 weeks later, hey, go win the division for us, will you? I mean, that's wild, right? I mean, that's a heck of a story as well. And it's also like, Malik Willis has been here. I think Malik Willis is a very well-liked guy in the locker room. His teammates rally around him. Is that any kind of deterrent? The only thing I would say, though, is like Dobbs is such an instantly likable person, Like, I feel like he's one of those guys who actually can just go in someplace and just snap your fingers. And now, can he play well? I don't know. Like you said, he's not a starting quarterback in the NFL. He's going to be a career backup. That's what he is. He is a career backup. That's what he is. But I think there's definitely a chance that he could be a better option for you than Malik Willis in that game. And it's a super, super fast forward with the offense. But he even said, even with Cleveland and stuff, there's even some similar jargon and stuff like that. Like, I feel like that makes the most sense. Now, maybe Malik Willis will play really well against Dallas Thursday and take a big step. And okay, that would change things. I mean, I'm interested to see how he plays, but based on what we've seen, there's not much there right now. And again, like the help's terrible. The help would be terrible about Dobbs is going to have the same bad protection and limited receivers. So it's not like you're going to snap your fingers and have some magical huge step forward at quarterback, but I think you might be a little bit better. You might have a little bit better chance. And right now you got to scrounge for every little thing you can get for that game to try to win it.
Well, Dustin in Hopkinsville on the text line says the big thing is Willis knows the playbook, this offense. Dobbs has been here for 2 weeks at that point when they take on Jacksonville. And I hear that.
Yep.
And I agree with it. But Malik Willis knows the playbook. How much of the playbook can they run with Malik Willis? That would be my question.
Exactly. There's a playbook, but there's a game plan every week that you put in. Those are the plays you rep. I mean, there's a huge playbook. Whatever. I mean, you're talking about one game. Here in this one game, this is what we're doing. And yes, I actually think that you probably have some things that you can do that you wouldn't even do with Willis that you would do with a Dobbs, with any veteran quarterback or a lot of veteran quarterbacks. And that's the thing. When you are a career backup, the good ones are able to. First of all, a lot of them are journeymen, so they're bouncing around. So you have to adapt to this offense, that offense. You get to know the nuances, the differences between them, the similarities between them. But you also you have to be ready to be on the fly and absorb stuff quickly. And if there's anybody who could do that, it would be a rocket scientist, I would think, right? So I hear all that, but I actually think that you might have a bigger menu of things you could do with Dobbs as opposed to Willis right now.
What's your takeaway? Like if you're evaluating Malik Willis, given all the information that we know, yes, the help around him is bad. The offensive line is bad. The receivers are bad. We know all these things. We know that he wasn't supposed to play this year. All that information that we know and have discussed. How do you evaluate what we've seen from Malik Willis to this point?
Well, it's not good. Now you have the touchdown run by him was great. That was a power run. He has the skill set. I think there are tantalizing skills there. The arm and the athleticism are those are good. It's just so limited right now. It's hard, but it's hard for me to also sit here and think there's no way he's going to get there. It's again, he just shouldn't be playing. And it's funny too, because we've been talking about Nico and Milton. What if Willis hadn't played a down this year? And we knew the arm, and we knew that some of the stuff he did in the preseason and the preseason games. How differently would people be thinking about Malik Willis even next year?
Yeah.
They'd probably be like, he's gonna be ready to be the starter next year. And then you watch him play this year, and it's rough. It's really rough. I've said this all along, and I'm not changing, even though it was really bad the other day. I'm not changing on. I'm just keeping an open mind. I think there's enough material there that it's not impossible for him to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. Would I guess that? No, most people aren't. Most people don't work out. Most first-round picks don't work out, let alone third-round picks. So, the odds are against him, but they're against just about everybody. I think there's material there, and again, this is the case for next year. You give them the season, and you're trying to be better around them and stuff like that. Then they're terrible around any quarterback right now. And if it's bad, then maybe you benefit from that. And if it's good, well, there you go. If you get through next year and it looks like this, if it doesn't look vastly different, then when will it? I think this offseason into next season, the strides have to be massive.
Well, all I know is, and I realized that they just gave up 34 points in a football game the other day, but that defense coming in here on Thursday with something to play for, and with Micah Parsons maybe lining up across from Dennis Daly a few times, that's a pretty scary thought for Malik Willis this Thursday.
I would think so. I would think some moving pockets might be in order. Or, again, I said it last week, I'll say it again. Install the veer. Make Micah Parsons play assignment football all night.
That's right. That's right. 615-737-1025. We'll have more of your thoughts on the Titans coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5-106.3 The Game.
Your home for the MTSU Blue Raiders is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. Every touchdown.
Yes, touchdown.
Every three.
Free ball, yes, sir.
It all lives here.
Middle Tennessee.
You can also hear the Blue Raiders in the Borough on 97.5. Middle Tennessee Athletics on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hiller is giving away cash for the holidays, and we are celebrating from now until the end of the year with special deals. Hiller wants to make sure every child experiences the joy of Christmas this year, so they're donating $50 in toys to Toys for Tots with every tankless water heater purchase, and giving away a $250 Visa gift card with each unit. Get a $500 Visa gift card when you buy select new HVAC systems, or a $500 Visa gift card with the purchase of any new whole home generator. More details at happyhiller.com. As always, happy you'll be, or the service is free, and these deals are only available until the end of the year. So that's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Call the Happy Face truck today.
Treat yourself to the gifts you really wanted at the Electronic Express Huge After Christmas Sale. Our convenient locations have great deals on all of your favorite brands like Samsung, LG, Apple, Sony, and more. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department. 4K TVs, computers, appliances, housewares, gaming, and more. Save up to 40% with up to 48 months free financing. Shop in-store or online and get free express delivery on most items. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Want to kick off the new year without any credit card debt? If that sounds good to you, you can do it with Loan Pronto's Express Equity Line of Credit. Wipe out all those credit card bills right now. Hey, Willie Donick here. Rates are down, and it's a great move to get on more solid financial footing for the new year. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a portion of the equity you have and enjoy a rate that's a whole lot less than what the banks charge on credit cards. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days. You can access up to 95% of your home's equity. Use that money to pay off those high-interest credit card loans of any type. Credit cards, personal loans, car loans, whatever. Consolidate everything into one easy payment. Even if you did a whole total refi last year, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program and keep your main loan intact. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Joe Rexrode here for OrderGreen.com. Listen, to do the job I do, got to stay on the move at all times. Lots of travel, early mornings. Sometimes it can catch up with you, and when it does, I always enjoy natural and enjoyable ways to de-stress my mind and body. That's why I use a high-quality, wide selection of THC and CBD products from OrderGreen.com. It's not just me. Lots of my friends are on the bandwagon here, including a sick family friend of ours who has gotten great benefits. OrderGreen.com. You subscribe, you save 25% off shipments of gummies, or use promo code JOE20 for 20% off your first purchase. OrderGreen.com. Hey, it's Joe Rexrode here, letting you know now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, my personal sportsbook, because right now new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's free bets back if your first bet doesn't win. All you have to do is sign up with promo code JOE102. FanDuel, of course, has all your favorites, money line, point spread, player props, but you can combine them for a chance at a bigger payout with the same game parlay. If I was looking at Titans, Cowboys, I do like the Cowboys in this game. I think the Titans are just trying to get to the finale and see what kind of a team they can put together. I do think that I would still go, though, with a Derrick Henry anytime touchdown. I mean, he's going to show up and play hard. Do whatever you want. Just do it on an app that's safe, secure, super easy to use. Sign up again. Promo code JOE102 for that no-sweat first bet. Promo code JOE102. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older in present Tennessee. First online real money wager only. Refund issued with non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. And if you have a gambling problem, call the Tennessee Red Line, 800-889-9789.
We want to hear from you.
Thanks for taking the call.
Join the conversation. Call or text at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We may now begin our day. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Kenny Adams here with you on this Tuesday morning, taking your thoughts on the Titans on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Jared from Spring Hill on the text line says, install the veer. He's an idiot. Talking about you, Rexrode. I guess you forgot to put the sarcasm font on it.
Well, I'm assuming that he's being sarcastic too and really thinks that I'm a genius. I'll choose that. I got Jared from the Stillman family texting me.
Me too.
Oh yeah. Let's see some selections. There's no material there that he can be the QB. He's probably not even a backup QB. By your there's a chance mentality, there's a chance Brock Purdy is the next Tom Brady. Zero material, more ability to be a running back than a QB. It was criminal. They made him a backup. His press conference after the game was embarrassing. I will say the press conference after the game was way too defensive, and I was like, "Whoa, who is this guy?" You know, like in training camp, that wasn't at all. Yeah, look, I'm sure he was disappointed after the loss and after playing poorly, but like, a pretty traditional, typical thing in the NFL. If you throw a pick as a quarterback and you're at your press conference, you're going to be asked to describe the play. You're also asked to describe like the touchdown pass or whatever key plays in a game, good or bad, that happen. You're going to be asked to describe them. So if your response is, it was an interception, like, oh, okay. A little spicy there.
Not wrong.
Rookie. Yeah, it was accurate. And then, the whole stats, then you're worried about fantasy football. Yeah, what matters is wins and losses. And certainly not Malik Willis's fault that Derrick Henry, the key play of the game was Derrick Henry fumbling. When they had the lead and were driving and had some momentum, that was a killer. But they still had a chance to win when Malik Willis threw a terrible pick himself. So, look, he's not a quarterback. We know this. He's not a quarterback now. I don't know. I disagree with Jared. I know you'll be shocked. I totally disagree with Jared. As I texted Jared, like, Jared, he has a plus arm. He's a plus athlete. You can't say there's no material. Because someone's bad at that position right now as a rookie. See, I won't say any names, but there are some very good quarterbacks in this league who were awful as rookies. And there were some very good quarterbacks in this league who didn't play as rookies because that's how it used to be done. So I disagree that there's no material. And at this point, it does feel far off that he could be a winning quarterback in full command of an offense, but that's the journey he's on, and no one expected him to be close to that kind of command right now. Not coming out of the offense he came out of.
Agreed. Now I will say it looks pretty bad, and I said it earlier. Like if I had to assign a percentage to it, I'm at about 7% that he's going to turn into a quality NFL starter at some point. I know that that's low, but that's about where I'm at with it. But he's been pretty bad so far. Again, we've gone through the reasons. Some of it definitely is on him. He's got a horrible offensive line, receivers. We know all this stuff, but I mean, the results are what they've been. It's not been good. And I don't really have any reason to think that's going to change all that much over the next 2 weeks.
I'll adjust mine. Quality NFL starter, Malik Willis. I'll go 10 more percent than you. I'll go 17.
17. Okay.
Jared, let us know your number. -1,000,000%.
Well, he's already let me know his number. It's 0.
0. There's 0. Yeah. So smart. There's just 0 chance. Like, we have this information right now, and it's absolutely, there's nothing could possibly change. Just great approach to life, Jared.
Andrew on the text line says, talk about a guaranteed bet that will pay. It's Derrick Henry to fumble. Why can he not hang on to the ball? This is from Andrew on the text line. Has had a lot of issues fumbling the ball lately, which has not typically been something that he struggled with in his career to this point.
Yeah, it's crazy. And a couple of the fumbles he's had were definitely like good job by the defender, forcing it. But still, I mean, people have been trying that for years. Like, why is that working all of a sudden? He's got to lift more. Does he need to work on the triceps a little bit? I don't think that's it. It's wild. But basically, like with this team, that and just so many things. I mean, speaking of Jared, to bring up the hashtag plane from Green Bay, like as soon as that plane landed, it has been just absolute doo-doo for this franchise. Just an absolute disaster of a month plus stretch here for this team. It's really quite amazing.
Jimi Hendrix on Twitter @VisualDreamer89 says those press conference questions were terrible. I would have responded with the same answers, going back to the Malik Willis press conference.
Yeah, the question of what happened on the interception. Terrible.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Please tell me the amazing questions. They were basic questions. There was not a single question in Malik Willis that was problematic at all or any. But I welcome. Meanwhile, I get like the whole Nashville media doesn't ask any tough questions. So which is it, folks?
Yeah, not asking tough questions. Like, if you can't handle it, hey, what happened on the interception question? I don't really know what to tell you.
Yeah, what should the questions be? I mean, I send me some samples of proper questions. Gotta hear this.
Kevin on the text line says, friendly reminder that the Titans traded up for Willis. Sheesh. This from Kevin from Hendersonville on the text line. They did. Now, it wasn't the third round, so it's a little bit different from, a first round selection. But look, they felt like there was value there, and they took a risk on him developing into their quarterback of the future. Now, we've talked about that too. Like, would you have been better served, especially with this roster, to have a third round pick that could help you on the field right now? I mean, that's a very legitimate question to me. And I'm sure there will be different opinions on that, but I could certainly make that argument of, yeah, you got a team that you feel like can compete. Why not spend a third round pick on a player that can help you right now rather than a project at quarterback that you hope helps you a year or two down the road?
Right, exactly. And that's fair. And look, of all the things that Jared said in his furious text storm that are, a little overboard, I do agree. Like, I think at this point, you look at how bad he's been, and you do wonder, because we talked about the redshirt year, nobody saw him to play well. If you make him the 2, then you know that he might play.
Yeah.
I think you can definitely nitpick the decision to make him the backup quarterback, understanding that he's going to have to come in and try to play winning football for you. Again, I'm not saying like things would have been way different with Logan Woodside. I will tell you this. Logan Woodside at his best right now, if this team went to Jacksonville and their defense was healthy and Derrick Henry, like Logan Woodside at his best would give you a better chance of winning than what we've seen from Malik Willis right now.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that's that hot of a take, but apparently it is.
Someone's gonna call that a hot take, which is fine. But I actually, yeah.
They can't run half their passing offense right now.
Yeah.
With Malik Willis at quarterback, like you got to be able to run the offense.
It's not very good.
It's just amazing to watch out there. That's why I think there's a legitimate chance that by the time that Jacksonville game kicks off, Josh Dobbs could be the starter in that game. And I don't know how well that's going to go. Like, either way right now, Joe, with the way things are trending, I'm picking the Jags to win that last game. Like, I think they're playing well. They've figured some things out. They've got the momentum. Trevor Lawrence is their quarterback. And whether it's Josh Dobbs or Malik Willis, I don't love the Titans' chances in that game. But I do think you've at least got to be throwing that around the room if you're Vrabel of getting Josh Dobbs maybe ready to go for that winner-take-all game.
Well, was it thrown around the room when they landed? Well, was it thrown around the room? Was it in the mindset like, you know what, it might have to be that when they signed him off the Lions practice squad, VFL, also LFL, Josh Dobbs, yes. Basically they knew at that point that it was going to be a winner-take-all game in Jacksonville. So has it already kind of been the idea like, you know what, Malik has to start the next 2 games, right? No one else is coming and starting instead of him quickly. But with this time frame, this guy's a better option than him. Maybe it's been the plan all along.
Could be. 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Coming up next, we'll be joined by Willie Donick. We'll get his thoughts on the Malik Willis situation. Also look ahead to the Preds and Stars coming up tonight as well. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Tonight.
Knocked down in front, rebound and the score. Ryan Johansson.
Your Nashville Predators return from the holiday break to take on the Dallas Stars. Pre-game at 6. Face-off at 7 on your home for Smashville. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Now's the time to get a great deal on select Kubota compact tractors, rated #1 in durability and owner experience. They're designed for easy operation and feature performance-matched attachments. Right now, put 0 down and get 0% APR for up to 48 months, plus save up to $1,100. Now through December 31st.
Nashville, Paris, and White House today.
It's Family Leisure's half-off after Christmas sale.
Up to half off on floor models, scratch and dent, and discontinued merchandise.
Theater seating with two-piece sets starting at only $6.99. Massage chairs are only $9.99 as well.
Air hockey and foosball tables in stock and on sale starting at just $1.99.
Hundreds of full tables in stock for immediate delivery. Slate full tables starting at just $14.99 installed.
Above ground pools are all on sale with 24-foot starting at only $29.99 installed.
Family Leisure's up to half off after Christmas sale going on now.
Antioch and Franklin.
What's up, everybody? It's Michelle Knezovic for Superbook Sports, and this is your New Year's resolution: win money in 2023 with Superbook Sports. Superbook has over 3 decades of sports wagering experience in Las Vegas, so you'll get the best odds boosts anywhere as we head into the football playoffs. Plus, check out their special odds boosts and promotions at superbook.com. Make 2023 the year when you win money from Vegas. Download the Superbook Sportsbook app and place your bets today. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Hey y'all, it's Courtney with Parman Tractor and Equipment. We're your one-stop tractor and equipment solution and Middle Tennessee's Link Belt and Takaheuchi dealer. As 2022 comes to a close, we want to thank our many customers. You can rent or purchase excavators, mini excavators, track loaders, and more through Parman. Gift yourself or business a new or used Link Belt or Takaheuchi machine. Visit parmantractor.com or come see us at 3570 Dickerson Pike, Nashville, your Middle Tennessee Link Belt and Takaheuchi dealer. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from the Parman employee-owned family to yours.
TSU basketball lives on 102.1 The Ville. Join Coach Brian Petty Collins and the Tigers for every great moment in the OVC. On your home for TSU basketball, 102.1 The Ville and the Ville app.
Hey, it's ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck on Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Kenny Adams here with you on this Tuesday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. We're going to be joined by Willie Donick here in just a few minutes as the Preds prepare to take on the Dallas Stars tonight. We'll get his thoughts on the Malik Willis situation as well. Taking your thoughts in the meantime on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Jeff on the text line says, I suppose Stillman ranting over and over that Willis sucks 47 times yesterday wasn't enough for him to make his opinion heard, but it was enough for me. Lastly, I had a bad dream last night. The Titans made a trade for Tua, and their turnover woes continued into the foreseeable future as well. This is from Jeff on the text line. Had enough of Stillman's ranting and has a dream about the Titans trading for Tua Tagovailoa.
Wow. Well, who knows? You never know. That's an interesting one. Has fake Jimi Hendrix told me the awesome questions that should have been asked of Malik Willis? I need to hear. I need to hear the amazing questions, the amazing press conference questions that, gotta have.
Which one drives you nuts worse? The "you're not asking tough enough questions" comment, or the "hey, why did y'all ask those stupid questions" comment?
Right. It's like either you never ask tough questions, or yeah, how dare you ask questions like that? Well, I get bothered by actually, I went off on someone in a comment on my column the other day at theathletic.com who said, like, Nashville media never asked tough questions. And of course, I had a tantrum, a written tantrum. And then someone backed me up, was like, actually, the questions are so tough from Nashville media, it's sometimes unnerving, which was interesting. Then, of course, he was like, Karski sometimes is like, I mean, all the questions that need to be asked are asked. And really, this is not, nod to Josh Dobbs, this is not rocket science, okay? Like, you're going to ask the obvious questions that need to be asked, and they are always asked.
Lester on the text line says, good morning. I believe the last 2 games, the defense also had a few opportunities to intercept passes in which they couldn't get to them. And then Henry fumbles. Willis has a bad interception, certainly contributed to the losses. In the press conference, Vrabel should have trotted in the assistant coaching staff to start fielding questions on what they have contributed to the losses. This from Lester on the text line. Get everybody in front of the mic. I like it. I'm
actually a little surprised we haven't had more like Downing must absolutely be fired today on the text line. I figured there'd be a lot of that. And again, I'm not saying Todd Downing is blameless. I'm just saying, like, usually when you have a performance that bad, like the OC is auto blamed, but we haven't seen a ton of that. as far as the earlier point on that, what was the first thing he said there?
The defense having opportunities to intercept passes in the last couple of games.
I mean, Zach Cunningham, what if he just catches that one pass before he got hurt again? And to basically, like, it's just seriously, that's an underrated, terrible decision by John Robinson to bring him back and pay him. But man, if he just catches that gimme, I bet you the outcome of this game is different.
Go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Rob from Murfreesboro. Rob, thanks for calling in.
Hello, gentlemen. We blame Robinson for picking Malik. If any too early, I think picking him at all didn't make sense. I don't think the guy could start for a top 25 team in college football, much less an NFL team. But Vrabel's the one that put him as the backup quarterback, not John Robinson. Robinson has plenty of stuff we can blame him for, but obviously Vrabel wanted the guy picked, or he would not be the backup quarterback. You don't just all of a sudden move somebody to your backup quarterback when you've got a guy that's been on the team for a couple of years that isn't, I mean, he ain't great by no means, but Woodside was a proven backup anyway.
Okay, thanks for the call. Well, look, the argument of why did the Titans not have a better option at backup quarterback, I think is certainly a valid argument. I mean, if you drafted Malik Willis, why would you not have more of a veteran guy in here that could handle things? I think that's a good argument. Now, to say that Logan Woodside was a proven backup quarterback, I mean, he never really played. So how do we know? And look, I can just go on what I saw in the preseason games. Logan Woodside was really bad in the preseason games, and he had some opportunities to take a hold of that job and keep the number 2 position, and he didn't do it. Now, again, could you make an argument that the Titans should have been better prepared at backup quarterback? Yes, you absolutely can make that argument, but I also don't buy into that Logan Woodside was some proven option at backup quarterback either.
Yeah, I agree. I still thought he was going to get, throughout the preseason, I still thought he was going to get the number 2 job just because, you don't want Malik Willis to be forced to play. And then look at what's happened. He's been forced to play, and it's been really bad. But he was, Logan Woodside. And, look, the caller's correct. But, I think that's Vrabel's decision. I think it's a coaching decision. I think it was based in part on Logan Woodside playing terrible in those preseason games and at times in practice too. But I will stick with what I said earlier in the show. If they had Logan Woodside right now for one game in Jacksonville, I think you'd have a better chance than with Malik Willis at quarterback. Which is that tells you how low the bar is, because Logan Woodside is barely good enough to be a backup in the NFL. And yeah, they should have had a better backup. I always say this too, name and ask anyone to name the backup quarterbacks in the NFL. There's 15 you can't name, and then you're like, that dude is a number 2 quarterback in the NFL. There's a lot of clipboard holders who teams do not want anywhere near the field.
Yeah, no question about it. So what's the approach Thursday? Because we know that the game itself doesn't mean anything. There's no repercussions if you lose the game. It's going to come down to Jacksonville, and if you can win that game. So what's your approach on Thursday from the standpoint of the game itself doesn't mean anything, but you've also lost 5 in a row, and you've gone from 7-3 to 7-8, and you're on a 5-game losing streak where it just feels like everything around you with your franchise is crumbling at the moment.
It's really interesting. And, talking to Kevin Byard after the game Saturday, and he's obviously very upset and down, but he's also he's trying to figure out how to turn this thing around, And I asked him just about how you look at this week, because this game doesn't count. And he almost got a little mad about it. He's like, it counts to me. It counts to me, man. These games count. And it's going to be a really fascinating look at guys like him, Simmons, and the guys who drive the emotional bus for this team. Can they get this team to play well and to put everything they have out there? We don't know who they're going to have out there, because I think there's going to be a couple guys not out there who would be out there if this game counted. And Vrabel confirmed as much. Like you said earlier in the show, Robby, is Derrick Henry play? And if he doesn't, are they going to lose by 30? But are they just going to get blown out of this game? Maybe. if they come up and summon a really good effort and even just have a chance to win this game, what does that mean? I'll be impressed. I'll tell you that. I will be impressed because we know Dallas has something to play for. They need a miracle still for the Eagles to lose 2 more games and them to have a chance. They're going to be the 5, but they beat the Eagles. They gave themselves a chance. They're playing. They're going to come in with full intent on winning this game. I'll be impressed if the Titans don't get blown out Thursday. And I know that's an incredibly low bar to set, but I will be.
Well, I'll tell you what Vegas thinks about the game. Cowboys are a 10.5-point favorite. So you're a 10.5-point favorite on the road on a Thursday night football game. I mean, that tells you what Vegas thinks is going to happen in this game. I mean, I agree. Like if the Cowboys have something to play for, which they do, and quite frankly, you know, even if both teams had something to play for, I don't love the matchup right now for the Titans. I think it's an offensive line that's pretty good, so I think it hold up okay against the Titans' defensive front. And on the other side of the ball, and again, I realize they just gave up 34 to Philadelphia, but that defense with the special player that they have in Parsons and what they can do, and with Diggs back there and what he can do and his ability to take the football away, like it could be rough for the Titans on Thursday night. There'll be a lot of Cowboys fans in there too, from what I hear.
Oh, sure. And, you know, it's like you look at the injury report because Dupree, who knows? Cunningham and Dupree probably, they may not play again at all, right? Yeah. But Autry biceps didn't practice. This is an estimated, by the way. They didn't actually practice. So this is an estimated injury report if they practice. But Henry's got the hip. We know that, Hooker probably could come back, but will he because of the situation? I mean, is Autry going to get the week off, or is Autry even worse? Who knows, right? Simmons' ankle. Like, if Simmons doesn't play, then there's your answer. But the Titans are basically punting on this game, right? And it's like, you know what? Take 2 weeks, Jeff, and get the ankle totally healthy. And
he shouldn't play.
And wreck the game. Wreck the game in Jacksonville. Because what's the Titans' hope of winning that game? Just destroying the Jaguars with their defense. So, and of course, if that's the case, how do the Titans not get blown out? If you have Simmons, Autry, and Henry, and all these guys off, it's just going to be
Mike McCarthy might go for it from 4th and 12 from his own 13-yard line. So,
yeah. And the thing is, I do think that you could, like, in a game like this, you still couldn't build towards something like whoever is out there on defense. Like, you want to start playing better. But they played pretty well on defense, but then they had that. They seem to have a couple drives every game where they kind of fall apart on defense right now.
Yeah.
And so a game like this, could you build momentum? Yeah, but if you don't have all those guys, I don't see how it goes well.
Right. I mean, they could see how Vrabel and the Titans handle that part of it. I will say, like, I am interested to see the crowd, like you talked about. You were there on Saturday, so you could talk about it better than I could. But TV, I thought the crowd looked fine. I mean, what'd you say? You're guessing at 45,000, 50,000, somewhere in that neighborhood. And that sounds bad, but given the circumstances of the weather, the holiday, and the team, I thought it's better than I thought it would be.
And the delay.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, everybody wait another hour here. Yeah. No, I was actually impressed. I was impressed that, like, Byard and Simmons, tweeted at the fans to thank them, because those people are some hardy souls out there.
Yes.
But yeah, so now it's going to be like 60 degrees Thursday, right? Like, it's going to actually be a nice night to go watch a football game. But what's that atmosphere going to be like? Is this going to are Cowboys fans? I mean, they're everywhere. So, like, there's a bunch of Cowboys fans who are here.
Right.
But, like, on a Thursday night game, are they going to take over a stadium on the road?
They could in a holiday week.
Yeah, it's a holiday week.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Good point.
615-737-1025. 615-737-1025. We'll have more on the Titans coming up next, including Joe's thoughts on putting into scope this collapse from the Titans that we've seen, going from 7-3 to now 7-8 with the playoffs and the division in doubt. We'll get to that up next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 meteorologist Greg Bopus. Cool to start the morning, but the afternoon right up near the 30-degree mark. However, we have to do with a little bit of snow early in the day. That tapers off late afternoon into this evening, and then we'll stay calm for the rest of the upcoming week.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
It's Family Leisure's half off after Christmas sale.
Up to half off on floor models, scratch and dent, and discontinued merchandise.
Theater seating with 2-piece sets starting at only $6.99. Massage chairs are only $9.99 as well.
Air hockey and foosball tables in stock and on sale starting at just $1.99.
Hundreds of full tables in stock for immediate delivery. Slate full tables starting at just $14.99 installed.
Above ground pools are all on sale with 24-foot starting at only $29.99 installed.
Family Leisure's up to half off after Christmas sale going on now.
Antioch and Franklin.
Hal Gill here for my friends at Dunkin'. Everyone celebrates the holidays in their own special way, but you go twice as hard as everyone else. So does Dunkin', which is why they've created 2 espresso-rich holiday signature lattes. The minty, cocoa-dusted peppermint mocha and creamy cinnamon sugary toasted white chocolate lattes are handcrafted with bold espresso and topped with whipped cream to help you do the most this year. So swing by the newly remodeled Dunkin' on Bradley Parkway in Nashville or the new Dunkin' in Mount Juliet and grab one today on the double.
Want to kick off the new year without any credit card debt? If that sounds good to you, you can do it with Loan Pronto's Express Equity Line of Credit. Wipe out all those credit card bills right now. Hey, Willie Donick here. Rates are down, and it's a great move to get on more solid financial footing for the new year. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a portion of the equity you have and enjoy a rate that's a whole lot less than what the banks charge on credit cards. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days. You can access up to 95% of your home's equity. Use that money to pay off those high-interest credit card loans of any type. Credit cards, personal loans, car loans, whatever. Consolidate everything into one easy payment. Even if you did a whole total refi last year, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program and keep your main loan intact. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Jared Stillman.
If you get 3 games where he doesn't turn the ball over, you're going to the Super Bowl.
Caroline Fenton.
I don't know if he would be open to joining another team.
Stillman and Company. Afternoons from 2 to 6.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
On Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in. Final segment of the day. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Kenny Adams here with you on this Tuesday morning. You know, the Titans have gone from 7-3 and in complete control of their division, and for the playoffs being almost a certainty, not just in our opinions, but by the numbers and by the statistics, to now 7-8, down to a winner-take-all game coming up in a couple of weeks in Jacksonville for the winner of that game, winning the division, getting to the playoffs, and being the number 4 seed in the AFC. So 5 losses in a row, potentially staring down the barrel of 6 this week with the Dallas Cowboys coming to town. How do you put into words or into a scope kind of the level of this collapse that we've seen, not only from the team on the field, but from what we've seen as the organization as a whole over the course of the past basically 2 months since this has taken place?
Well, I think it'll be one of the all-time collapses in franchise history. I think it'll be an all-time collapse in Nashville sports history, which, you know, is a short pro sports history, but you've got that, and then you've just got, I think when you look back on this, you know, we'll see where things go for A.J. Brown and the Eagles, but they're going pretty well. I think this is one of those things where you're going to look back and say, you had a number 1 seed that blew it. So you could go back to blowing the playoff game if you want to start all the bad stuff, but you had a number 1 seed and a team that was definitely among contenders of a conference, and you traded away a great player, and you just, I mean, I think you'll trace it to that, because look, they were 7-3 and they felt good as they got on the hashtag playing from Green Bay. But how good were they? How good have they been all year? They won some close games. They beat some bad teams. there was a little bit of smoke and mirrors, and they played in such a bad division that we just awarded them the AFC South title way early, right? That said, when you lead a division by 4 games on Thanksgiving, that's an incredible choke job to now win the division.
Yes, it is.
Incredible.
Yes, it is.
So they weren't that good, but they still were in total command.
No, it's unbelievable what's taking place here. No, it's crazy what's taking place here. And it's one of those things where I look at it and I agree, like, you're 7-3. How good are you really? I don't know. I mean, they had not beaten really anybody that was all that good during that time. Their best win was against Washington, and that was at a time when Carson Wentz was the starting quarterback for the Commanders. So we talked about that even at the time. Like, okay, what does this all mean? How good really are the Titans? But then, even with Malik Willis at quarterback, you went to Kansas City, and your defense played really well, and they kept you in the game. You had a chance to win the game. You probably should have won that game against Kansas City. And to me, that was kind of an awakening of, well, this defense is pretty darn good. Like, they could be pretty good as they move forward. And it's just been injury after injury after injury that's taken place since then, especially on that side of the ball. And their offense is bad. I mean, their offense has been bad from the word go this year. Their best performance was in Green Bay. And like you said, since the moment that plane from Green Bay touched down, everything has gone wrong for this Titans franchise. And, Caroline brought this up earlier, and I don't know how much of the piece of the pie that I give this. I certainly give it to some for that first Jacksonville game, but the firing of John Robinson, like, how much did Amy Adams-Strunk's decision to do that when she did it play into what we've seen in the aftermath since then? I think you can certainly make a case for the Jacksonville game. Beyond that, I don't know how much of a case I'd make for John Robinson and the impact of what it's meant for the team on the field, but there's no question that it's been basically a total disaster from that Green Bay game on.
But the impact is more than that game because it gave them oxygen, because a team that had just lost 40-14 to the Lions, the freaking Lions, by the way, who gave up a juicy 320 rushing yards to the Panthers, in showing their true selves this last weekend. There's a lock for me.
You nailed it.
Coming through. Thank you. But Jacksonville lost 40-14 in Detroit. So the timing of that, which is right after Philly, that's the timing that I think is important. But but the timing of that going into the Jacksonville game, jacking up that whole week, making your team the story of the NFL because of like dysfunction and what happened and what's the real story. Okay, that's one game, but also now they have life and they look at what they've done from there. Like, basically, and look, it did start with that Derrick Henry fumble to them. And then it just completely they just crumble in that game. Like the most mentally soft team I've ever seen from a Mike Vrabel team, not even close. And then, yeah, like I agree. I mean, I don't think like that's still hanging on them, but Jacksonville gets oxygen. And all of a sudden, here they are. They're the toast of the NFL. And if you just don't blow that game, then it doesn't matter. Like, right, it's over. It's over right now. Like, it just – now, they'd probably be screwed. Like, if you lose Nate Davis and you lose Ben Jones, all these guys are on IR, like, that's where it's like, you look forward and it's like, so what could they really do? Like, I guess, like, Tannehill somehow miraculously comes back, and then you could make some kind of run. Your defense miraculously gets totally healthy, and you play your top level of defense. It just seems so distant and unrealistic right now.
Well, you wrote about this after the game on Saturday, Joe. It's really interesting because, like, they still could win the division. They still could get to the playoffs. And I sense zero excitement from Titans fans. And I'm not even saying I blame them. Like, I don't blame you for not being excited. It's just interesting that they very much could still make the playoffs, even given everything that's happened. And I think a lot of the Titans fans are like, yeah, so what? Who cares?
Yeah, it's interesting because they're going to go to Jacksonville. And, I mean, in my opinion, the way I look at it is like, hey, may as well get the shot in while you can now. I mean, I think it would be pretty amazing, whether it's Willis or Dobbs, or I guess, Tannehill could hop around on one leg and try to play in the finale. But, Willis or Dobbs going into that place, that'll be a packed stadium, division rival. All of a sudden, they're going to be the team. I mean, to me, that
pool will be fired up down there and be ready to go.
The pool will be milky. The milky pool water will be bubbling. But is that not worth like if you're a Titans fan, is that just winning that game just to keep them out of it and say, shut up, we won 3 in a row? Is there not some value in that?
Oh, I think so. Look, make the playoffs. Again, like it's funny to even be talking about this because we thought that was a virtual certainty at one point, but make the playoffs. Probably not going to go well once you get there. And I get it. There are people that are more concerned about draft positions right now than they are with playoffs. And again, I understand it. I mean, what's the best case scenario for your draft pick? 12, 11? I guess if things go right, you could end up maybe at 10 at some point. But right now I think they're at 13 right now. So what are you doing at 13? Are you getting a franchise quarterback there? Probably not.
Right. I mean, look, if you lose that game, that's all you got is you got the draft, but yeah, it's like, is it really that big of a difference? It's a couple of players, and the reality is whoever gets taken like 24th will be like the best player in the draft anyway. I mean, it's just, you're going to be in the same range either way. But I still look, if they were to win that game, however the heck they would do it, if like Baltimore's coming in here,
looks like it.
Yeah. Win a rock fight? I don't know. It's probably not going to happen. But I still think like this could be the last. I mean, this could be the last chance, and it's become the norm. So people lose excitement over it. But this could be the last chance of postseason football for a few years for the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I have no idea what the direction of the team's going to look like as they move forward here. That's why that's the only part about this Thursday game. It's really all that interesting to me is like, how important do the Titans think it is to just win a game or at least try to win a game? Because they've done so much losing. You could see it, like even just watching the videos, and Joe, you were in there and you could speak to it better than me, but even just like watching Kevin Byard's face in some of these post-game videos, just the sense of dread that he's got on his face right now. You can't tell me that that's not just circulating through that locker room right now.
No, he's never, and he said it, and it's a fact. He's never experienced anything like this. He's only known winning. He came in with John Robinson, Derrick Henry, and all they've done, they flipped the franchise around, and they've only known winning, not 14-2 kind of winning, but winning. They haven't had losing streaks like this, and it just gets worse and worse. So no, and it's actually kind of tough to watch a guy like him be affected by this because he's doing everything he can. We haven't really gotten into the whole stuff with Vrabel, what he said after the game today. We can talk some about that tomorrow, but there's that too. Like, how much is this impacting guys? Do they have the right combination of intangibles in that locker room? You start to wonder when you go on a stretch like this.
That's going to do it for us today. By the way, J.J. Watt putting it out there. It looks like he's going to retire at the end of this season. And he put it out there that this last Sunday was his final NFL home game. So it looks like J.J. Watt going to call it a career after this year is done. They've got 2 more games on the road, and it looks like that's going to be it for J.J. Watt after that.
He was awesome, by the way. He was freaking amazing in that game.
Yeah, he was.
They couldn't block him. It's incredible.
Pretty incredible. So it looks like J.J. Watt calling it a career. That's going to do it for us today here on Robby and Rexrode. Chase, Willie, and D-Mays up next. You're listening to 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
You love the game.
Predators win it in overtime. Touchdown, Tennessee.
We live the game.